Hati. Ada hati. live once again. Howdy everybody, hope you had a good week. We'll start out with saying hello to everyone. Who got the cookie today? Looks like Quasimodo did. Congratulations, Quasi. Hope you enjoyed that cookie and glad to see you here. And Lionel Trains, which is Thomas, man of 1,000 different channel names. He got the half cookie. Good to see you here, Thomas. And it looks like John Nippenberg got the crumbs. Good to see you, John. Glad you're here. Oh, shit. Tom Grassi, good to see you. Glad you're here. Hot Dog Pilot Andy. How you doing, Andy? Good to see you. GRE 2057, good to see you. And the Gigliottis. Ray, how's it going? Good to see you here. Let's see who else we got. Anfield Road Layout in the Loft. Lee, how's it going? Good to see you. Train Man 101. Mickey, how's it going? Good to see you here, man. Been a while. Let's see who else we got here. Chuck Schreiber. Hey, Chuck, good to see you. Ray Bertelson. Bertelson. Can't talk today. Good to see you, Ray. And that's everybody so far. So, we got a lot to cover today. A lot of train talk, believe it or not. I've been kind of busy doing things. I redid my passenger cars with the lighting. I got Keep Alive circuits in there now that actually work. I won't go into great detail. I did throw out a video. You guys, I'm sure you've probably seen them. But now I'm looking at actually this one here. You guys probably remember the America First Trump car. Well, I got the lights put in it finally, and I'm actually working on it. I expect to have it finished this coming week. Now, I didn't put the red hats on the people. Who the hell? Gerald Stewart was the one who suggested it. I might try and print up some, paint them red and throw them on there. I don't think it's something you can actually paint on. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But all I've got to do is run the wires from the trucks. I remounted the trucks so they're in there properly now. I run the wires for that. This is already weighted. And hook up the Keep Alive circuit. And I think I don't know if we're going to use a variable resistor on this one or just resistor it down easily, because it can't be too bright because the top part's going to be lit as well. We'll see how that goes. I'll do a video on it when I get it done. Let's see. Thomas says, Jim, I seen your new passenger car. Yeah, like I said, I put it up there. I did a video on a how-to on her, I guess you can call it that. and Tom says, mega hats. What's a mega hat? I mean, usually they would do a MAGA hat. A mega making what great again? I'll try anything. And we'll see how that goes, but hope to have it finished next week sometime. Hey, Joe Rader, Black Rock Central World. How you doing? Says he's just listening. That's cool. Listen away, my friend. So, that's the plan for that. Now, after that, well, I did pull apart this ES44. And this is a rivet counter. I was kicking around putting the Tsunami 2 card in here along with the decoder buddy. I don't know if I really want to do it. There's a lot of lighting in this thing. So I'm really I'm thinking about it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet. Now the other one isn't a rivet counter. It's just your basic one. That one I'm definitely going to do at some point. Hey, Carolina Foothills, Brad, right? I think. Yeah, forgive me if I get the names wrong. I'm getting bad with names. Hey, good to see you here. See, Tom's the gym idea. You should get a dummy engine put on the end of the train. Put lights in it, maybe sound that way. It would look like the train is going forward. And yeah, that's true. I could do that. I thought about that too. That's it was an idea I was kind of kicking around. Problem is, I don't know if I can get a dummy P42. I'll have to look out for one. Well, that is a good idea, though. I think it would look nicer. And plus, like I said, I may put this dome car in on along with the other two Amtrak coaches. Not sure yet. The coaches are working good, though. I have played around running it manually back and forth. I haven't had any issues. Lights are working good, no flicker. The thing is, I got to get the Motorman reverser, or whatever you call it, to put in there so it'll work itself, so I don't have to mess with it. I don't know when that's going to happen. I got so many things I want to do, and unfortunately a very limited amount of money to do with. So we'll see, but I'm hoping to get the Motorman, I don't know, February, maybe March. I don't know. I was talking to Tom Grassi today, and my printers are just, they're not printing worth the shit anymore. I mean, they work, but half-assed. There's nothing I can do about it. They're just plain wore out. So I was looking at the Bamboo Labs A1. Now, Dwight said earlier this morning on Crooked Dave's Morning Brew that you can't get them right now. Well, that's not completely true. They will be available as of the 20th of this month, right from the Bamboo Lab site. They have an American site here where I can get it. It's $2.99 without the AMS multicolor system. I don't need that, but I want the printer. I'm thinking February I'm going to pick one up. I'll put it on the old credit card and just let it go at that, because this thing is, it prints, but the prints need serious cleanup after they're done. I don't like it. It's not the way it's supposed to work. I've tried every trick and theory and everything else in the book to cure the problem. Like a string, basically. And I can't prevent it from stringing, so you know what? They're old machines. They got a lot of hours on them. And I think it's time to retire them. So I'm just going to buy the 1A1 for now. And maybe later on, maybe at the end of the year or whatever, we'll see. I'll get an A1 Mini. But I need the full-size one for some of the work I do. Or larger prints like train cars and stuff. I need that 9-inch build plate, so we're going to stick with that one. But it seems like a much better machine. $300 isn't that bad. It's free shipping. I say so you should have it in 3 to 4 days. So, like I said, next month I'm definitely going to order one. Probably wait till after I come back from the Villages train show. I'll be going with Tom Kvichak and his wife Debbie. So we'll see. Let's see. They pop in that I had seen. No. Tom says, Jim Atherin makes a P42 dummy Amtrak engine. That's all right. I'll look for that. Thanks, man. Or if you want, you can send me a link. That'd be cool. And you're right, I'll put lights in it. Maybe a sound decoder, you know, just to have lights and sound. Hell, why not? No, I already changed the nozzles, Dave. Nothing I've done has helped it any. I've tightened the belts. I keep it well lubricated, you know, the screws and all that. I just old, you know. So I'm just not going to fool with it anymore. GRE 2057, so Jim, talked to Grandpa Rails. He has one of the Bamboo Labs A1 printers. He's gotten a lot of, yeah, I know, he praises his. And Tom Grassi has one as well. They seem to be a good machine. They're a little expensive, I mean, compared to what I've been paying. But, you know, you kind of get what you get. That's the Mini, Tom. I did look at Amazon, and all they have available is the A1 Mini. It's $219.99. So I don't want to do the Mini just yet. I rather go to the full size one. Like I said, I don't care. It's not that much more. So the hell with it. I'll just get it right from Bamboo Labs and be done with it. That's my plan anyway. Because I plan on doing a lot more printing, you know, in the near future. There's always things that need to be printed, and I need to have a reliable machine. And unfortunately, these Vipers, they were great when I bought them. But, you know, I think the oldest one is going on 2.5 years. And the newer one is going on 1.5 years. So they've got, like I said, they don't record the hours. I wish they did. I think the Bamboo has an odometer on it. Or an hour meter, but these ones don't, and I have no idea how many hours are on these machines. I know there's a lot, probably in the thousands. So, you know, sometimes these things run, you know, 24/7. You know, for a while there I was running print after print after print. You know, it was never stopping. So they've done their work. They paid for themselves. And like I said, they were inexpensive machines. The new one I think I paid $189 for, and the old one I think I paid $200 even, or $201, something like that. I mean, I got my money's worth out of them. And like everything these days, nothing lasts forever. Hey, Raymond, how you doing? Good to see you here. So, that's on my list of things to get. That's kind of going to take a priority because I need a good printer. And I do plan on printing more. Also, we were discussing from Crooked Dave this morning, they were talking about fencing. And I know Tom threw in his 2 cents a little bit, which was good. Now, he's like me. We both done ours on the filament printers, FDM printers. They come out all right because they are flexible. But if you really want a rigid fence railings, it's probably smarter to put it in the the resin printer. I'm going to try doing one at some point. Hey, John Nippenberg, how you doing? Good to see you here. I'm going to try doing the frame in the resin printer because I really want a rigid fence frame. Because I've done some over here. You can't see them, but I mean, they look worn, which is good for, you know, if you want somebody who looks aged. But, you know, there's some areas where I'd like to have them, you know, looking good, like they're fairly new. So I'm going to try it, and then, of course, I use the tool, or the wedding gown material, or whatever that is. They call it tool. I use that on there to recreate the fence itself. So I'm going to give that a shot because, like I said, I never thought about resin printing those frames. I've always, you know, filament printed them. We'll give it a shot. Other than that, I finally did come up with a color scheme. Crooked Dave sent me a picture some months back. It's like a medium blue with a silver accent on it. I'm going to do something similar. I kind of picked the colors out. I haven't bought them yet. That's how Amazon has it, and it's not, you know, paints ain't getting any cheaper. I mean, little cans like this for $15. It's ridiculous. But they did have some that were full-size cans, because I'm looking for a medium blue metallic, or even a light blue metallic, and a silver metallic to do the paint with. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, I got a couple of engines here. I'm going to show all the engines I plan on converting. Because I'm a BNSF guy mostly, so I don't really care whether I have CSX on my layout or not. I got a CSX, I got Rio Grande, I've got Southern Pacific, and Burlington Northern before they merged with Santa Fe. So I'm going to kind of get rid of all these other engine road names. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run blue on the top, blue on the bottom all the way around, and then have the silver, a silver belt on the middle that'll come up and over the cab. So that's what I'm going to do on all of these. Like I said, I've got this ST40 here that's going to get done. And I got this F7. I'm also going to do this. This is a Walrus, by this is DCC and Sound. It's one of the, I think this is the second locomotive I ever purchased. It runs pretty good. And like I said, I turned it into the Millennium County, but I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'll have a band come up over the cab area, and the rest will be blue, and the band will be silver. So we're going to do that one as well. I've got a Rio Grande here. Now this is DCC, but no sound. This was the very first DCC engine I bought. So I'm going to convert this over to sound at some point. I'm not sure what this is. Well, I think it's a GP9 maybe. I'm not sure. I know it's a Bachmann, because it's the first and last Bachmann I bought. It's not a bad engine, but like I said, the same deal. I'll run over the cabs the silver, and the silver belt around the circumference of the back of the engine, and the rest will be blue. I've got that one. I've got, let's see what else I got here. This was a gift I got from, I think it was from Vinny, last Christmas or the Christmas before. It's DC. I'm going to convert it to DCC and Sound. Also going to use the same paint scheme on this. So that's scheduled to be redone. And then I have, I believe this is the next SD60. This has DCC and Sound as well. I'll probably be converting this one over to Tsunami. But I'm going to do the same paint scheme on this. So I've got a lot of engines here that I could swap over. Then I have this one here. This is I think this is an SD45. This is the one that was a truck fried on it. So I've got to buy new trucks for the chassis. But I think I'm going to redo the body anyway in a new paint scheme. It could be a GP40. I'm not sure, Dave. Some of these things I got, and been so long that I don't remember what the hell they are. So you're probably right, without a doubt. Hey, it's Coquille River Valley. John, how you doing? Happy birthday, by the way. And Tom Stranger Things. Hey, Tom, how's it going? Good to see you here. See anybody else saying this while I was yapping? I don't think so. Let me back up here and make sure. Nope, I think I'm caught up. I don't think I missed anybody. Yeah, that's what I get when I start talking. I don't pay attention. The 40 had 3 fans, the 38s had 2. Okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, that one's got 4 fans, the Rio Grande. So it probably is a 40. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'll figure out what the hell. Hey, Sean, Pennywise and Miser Railroad. Pennywise, Miser, yeah, I get it right eventually. It's all lumped together, so it's hard to see. Anyway, good to see you here, Sean. Happy New Year to you too, sir. So, oh, then I got this switcher. Now this is a dummy switcher, and I'm just going to keep it as a dummy, but I still want to convert the paint job on it. I do have another switcher up there that is operational. It's DCC without sound, and it's probably going to stay that way. And I'm going to look for a couple other switchers. The was it the SW? Oh shit, can't remember what it is now. It's the goofy looking ones. And Athearn has a blue box, and they're relatively inexpensive. So I'm going to look around for one, or even when I'm up at the train show, maybe I'll find one. It's the 1500, I think, SW 1500, I think. So, you know, if I can find them cheap enough, I'll convert them over. I watched the video on how to convert it over to DCC, well, DCC straight. It includes the sound, but I'll put sound in it anyway. So we'll see. What's Jim running tonight? Well, I was running the mixed freight behind the bloody nose, and had the ES44 carrying mixed freight on that one. I shut it down because it's too noisy. But that's what I was running though. So I got to get more cameras. I lost the camera again, and I mean the camera itself is not bad, but it could be. I've been thinking about this because Dave Thurber's also having problems with cameras. And see, anybody who has problems with cameras probably has a video card going bad in their computer. Now I have an 8 gig video card on my computer, the desktop, but I've had it for for almost 5 years now. It might be getting wore out, and because I get cameras, they come and they go. There's no method to the madness; it just happens. So I might need a new video card. Of course, I want to switch over and get away from the USB cameras anyway, and maybe go to Ethernet or PoE, or possibly even Wi-Fi. I don't know yet. I'm also looking into another train-mounted camera. Yeah, because I kind of miss doing the ride on board deal, and so I'm looking at different situations for that. Excuse me. I don't count the dynamic brake fan. That's the one in the middle of the body. Okay. Well, in that case, it's got 3 fans. Now you can see it right here. 3 in the back, 1 in the middle. I guess that's a dynamic brake fan there. So probably is a GP40 then. I have no idea. As I said, the green Burlington, I think that's an SD9, I think. I don't remember. It was on the box, but I don't run it enough to really, keep memory of it, so. Ray says, so you could do consist with only 1 powered loco. Raymond, yeah, you could. Hey, Georgia Sunbelt, Anthony, how you doing, man? Good to see you here. So, see, that's why I want to consist more engines, too. Possibly run some DPUs, but I got to get them speed matched, and I've got a lot of work to do. And I said this past year I've done nothing as far as I'm concerned. Literally pissed away the whole year. So hopefully this year I'm going to get serious and get some of this stuff taken care of. But that's the plan for that, and when I get the first one done, I'll show it, the new paint scheme. And like I said, I want to do conversions on most of these anyway, and convert them to the Soundtrack Tsunami 2. So I get everything kind of on the same page, with controls and functions and all that. So we'll see. But that's the plan. Oh, plus I forgot. I also have some rail cars that got to be painted, like this caboose. And this is lit with a keep live in this for flicker-free lighting. I'm going to repaint this as well. So pretty much anything I have that has the Millennium County logo on it is going to get repainted. I wanted to show you, my wife took a video of the sugar train the other day, and they're using one of their newly painted engines out there, and it's a green and yellow and red, I think, with red striping. Looks pretty good. Of course, it's different from the ones I did, and they're GP38s. So I'm going to pick up a couple more GP38s later on down the road, probably Athearns. And because those ones I got there were MTH, never again. You know, convert them over to, I'll get DC models, convert them over to DCC sound, and paint them up like the new sugar. Now I wanted to post that video. It's on my phone, but I couldn't transfer for some reason. I mean, I've done these transfers before and never had a problem, but for some reason I couldn't do it today. Like I said, it's always something. Sounds like dummy units were a quick alternative to speed matching. That's true, Raymond. But it defeats the whole purpose of having a DPU, though. You want the DPU because you've got such a long train that you need a little help with it. And so it has to be speed matched in order for it to work properly. I still don't know GR 2057's name. I don't think he ever told me. And he said I'm terrible with names anyway. Mostly. Hey, Derek Alexander. Hey, Derek. How's it going, man? And Derek still calls Thomas Spike Man. I wish he'd stick with Spike Man and quit screwing around with these name changes. I'm surprised that he hasn't been banned from YouTube yet. GRE 27 says actually dummy units are known as non-powered units. That's true. Still the same problem though, because like I said, if you're bringing up the rear on a long train or a DPU in the middle, you've got to be speed matched with what's up front. Otherwise you're going to have derailments or other problems. So speed matching is very important. Hey, Dundas Junction Model Railroad, James, how you doing? Good to see you here. So I got to get them speed matched, and as I say, you know, I've got two or scale trains, the ES44s. You'd think they'd be the same, right? But they're not. One's a rivet counter and one's the other one. I can't remember what the basic models are called, but they are different, even though they're the same train. The only thing that's really different on them is some of the, you know, some of the rails and all that stuff. They're a little more accurate, but they still have the same motors in them. Yet they do run at drastically different speeds. So I got to sit down and try and figure out how to speed match, or like I said, I'll get the other one, put the Tsunami 2 in it, and then match it to this ESU here. We'll see. I'll figure it out eventually. So skill basic, that's operator, there you go. I can never remember that. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got one operator, one rivet counter. So, you know, at the time the rivet counter was on sale, so I bought it because the operator models are much cheaper, about $30-40. So most of my engines are operators. I think that one and the yellow one are the only two rivet counter models that I bought. So, hey Dave, BFS N scale. How you doing? Good to see you here, Dave. So anyway, that's the plan. Now he said it's going to take time to do all these, and I'm probably going to paint one get it swapped over, decoder-wise, get it finished, get it on the layout, and move on to the next one. So you could be looking at a year. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They got 7 locos and the train cars will be easy to do. The rail cars. I don't have many of them, but I do have a few. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Plus, I'm still working on the layout. I got to get the second level set up, and I want to get the helix built. I don't know when that's going to happen. I want to put the secondary room for the shed so I can move printers and stuff out there. I'd kind of like to put a rush on that too. Maybe March or April, I'm not sure. I'll start on it. And the hardest part's going to be putting the floor down. That'll actually be tied into this shed. And then the shed itself is just a kit, more or less. I get that from Amazon and put it together and screw it to the floor and to the wall of this building, and then cut the hole out for the doorway. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's just a little bit of money, but not a whole lot. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I paid the taxes, my property taxes, 2 days ago. When did I pay them? Monday? Yeah, I paid them Monday. That's done. I did apply for the discount because I'm a senior now, And they didn't deny that I could get it, but they're, like, well, you got to do this. Yeah, I know I'm going to have to fly through hoops because, that's the way shit's done anymore. I'm 65, I'm disabled, I own my home. There should be no question as to whether I get the senior discount or not. Plus, I don't make a lot of money, so, and that was another, you have to be down on the lower end of the pay scale, which, technically and legally I'm below poverty level. So, there shouldn't be any problem. I should be able to get anywhere from half to 3/4 off my property taxes. So, just in case our governor doesn't succeed in eliminating the taxes. I'm hoping he will, but, it's iffy. And that won't kick in until 27 anyway. So, I'd still have to pay the full taxes in 26. So, this way at least I'll get a break. And if he does get it through, then I won't have any taxes to pay. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I just got taxed with fixing dinner, so I'll eat it. All right, Sean. At least it ain't costing you nothing, right? James says, I'm going to build a helix in the spring. Cool. So you're going to do second level then, right? That'll be neat. Yeah, I'm going to build mine too. Tom Grassi, when he was down last time, he brought me a section of the helix that he actually bought. It was an extra piece, and that's going to be my shit, I forgot the word for it. My die for or to make more. So I got to buy the gator board. Use that, cut out whatever pieces I need, and I could 3D print the vertical spacers. So he brought me a spacer too, so I can use that as a guide. So that's going to save me a ton of money, because I looked at it, they're like $400 or $500 for a helix if you buy one already built. I'm going, screw that, that's a lot of money. But, it is what it is, so. Template, that's the word I was looking for. I couldn't think of that. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Tom. Hey, I'm losing my fucking mind. The worst part is I would remember that in about 5 minutes. But when I need to bring it up right then and there, it doesn't happen. I hope that's not early Alzheimer's, because that would suck. Here I thought you outgrew the one level already. Well, if you don't have a lot of... If you can't go out, you go up, And, James is a highly accomplished carpenter. So he should have no problem, making his helix and putting up his second level. It's going to look nice, you can guarantee it. I mean, look what he's done so far, and that's some first class work, his bench work. So, yeah. Thomas Grassy, what template? Well, he brought me, it's one piece. And I can't get to it right now because I got it way down there and the train stopped on the lift up. It's gator board. You can use anything. You could use 1/4 inch plywood, 1/2 inch plywood, whatever you want, really. Anything rigid, semi-rigid. But the gator board seems to work fine. It's not that expensive. I could buy a full sheet of it for like $50. So, I think Lowe's has it or Home Depot has it. One of the two has it, so I'll probably go to one of the two and pick some up when I need it. I'm figuring I'm only going to need about 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 levels. 5 turns. Because I'm only, I think, 22 inches high between the top and the bottom levels. So it's not going to take a whole lot. And you have to have at least, I think it's 4 inches between each level. Because I want it deep enough where I could, run a container car with doubles on it. So I'll make sure that I have it. Carolina says, "All right, I couldn't remember dynamic brake." It happens to all of us, I guess. Tom says, "I guess I'm being Jim's dictionary tonight." There you go. James goes, "You don't need a template." Well, it's easier if you have one, Yeah, I could do it without a template, but, then I actually have to think and measure shit. I don't want to do that. Because, I'm getting lazy in my old age. So, a template does make things easier, though. Trust me. Ray says, B units were the only non-powered units that made sense to me. Well, yeah, because, it's just like pulling a train car. It's not a big deal. But now that we're consisting everything, you've got two, maybe up to 4 or even 6 powered units pulling the train. The train's, a mile long in scale. So you want to have a DPU, or at the very least a DPU in the middle, or possibly even one in the rear. And you have to be speed matched for that, and they have to be powered. I mean, a dummy's just, looks good, but it wouldn't actually do you any good. So, and that's a lot of stress you're putting on your lead engines, so you don't want to stress them out either. It's always something. James is not required. No, it's not, James, but it just makes it easier, Because, we're not all skilled craftsmen like you, and I'm not being sarcastic, it's the truth. You'd probably I know you'd run rings around me in carpentry. I have very limited experience as a carpenter. I could build stuff, sure, but, I don't think I could put the finesse into it that you do. Like you said, I looked at your bench work and I'm going, that's a seasoned craftsman there doing that work. Now, mine doesn't look bad, but, it's not the same. So, I'll take any edge I can get. But I will draw the pattern to get my outside radius. We'll use a router to cut the circles. Yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. Tom says, my layout isn't big enough for all the locomotives. No, well, mine isn't easy. Actually, well, the physical size would do it, but I may have to put a booster in. Or at least get a better power supply, because I'm not putting a lot of voltage. I'm not getting a good 14 volts on the rails. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And of course, the more locals you put on there, the more stress it puts on the unit. Now, I think it's a 5 amp unit. And if I remember correctly, they said you can run, I think, a total of 6 locomotives simultaneously on 5 amp. Now, I don't know if that really holds true or not. I just swore that's what I read. Old Tom Grassi, he's got a ton of locomotives on his. Of course, he's got boosters all throughout there, too. And like I said, if I have to put boosters in, not a big deal. Dave's BNSFN scale says, used to run 4 or 5 units to run my trains back when I had a layout, had 1.5% grade. Yeah. Well, you definitely need it with, with that kind of a grade. See, I don't have any real gradients now. When I had the ramp going up to the second level, I was running 4%. And there's no way you could do it without at least 2 locos pulling. And it just wouldn't pull them up. So I was trying to keep it at 3, but I started off from this end here, went down about 30 foot, 28 foot, somewhere around there, and then 12 foot across the back, and then I think I fucking started to level out about 3 or 4 foot on the left side, and I was only, I think, 12 or 13 inches above the first level, which was too low. I wanted to go higher, but I would have gotten to like a 6 or 7% grade. That would have been a problem. Because there's no way I could put a helix inside the building. I just don't have the room for it. So I didn't think, why not just build an outbuilding and put the helix outside, under cover, and let it run up that way. And that would have solved a whole bunch of problems. And that's what I wound up doing anyway. Because my second level, I believe it's 22 inches, I think, above the front of the bottom level. I got a lot more room between them now. So I've got to go up 22 inches, which should be, I think at the very minimum, probably four loops on the helix. I remember measuring it at one point, but I don't remember what it was. So, let's see. Dave says, thunderstorms in Arizona right now. That sucks. We had sunshine today, 8 degrees Celsius. That's a little cold. Dave says, was running Kato 6-axle units on DC. That's cool. Anthony says, why'd I think you were in Michigan? Oh, Dave? Nah. Says he lives in Wisconsin, but in Arizona for the winter. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, imagine Wisconsin's cold as shit right now. Dave says, stop giving me ideas, Jim. It's a workable idea, though, yeah. And I was going to put up a shed out there for the helix. And I thought, well, that's kind of a waste of space. I mean, it could be good for storage underneath the helix, But realistically, what I need to do is build a box out there to hang off the building. And it would be 4 inches or 4 foot wide, probably 4 foot tall, and 4 foot out. Put a couple of braces under it for stabilization, and have lids, at least on each side, for access. So if I have to do any work in there, rescue a derailed train or something, I can get to it. I'll probably put a camera in there too, just for shits and grins. But it would save a lot of money to do that. So that's what I'm going to do for the helix. But behind me, I want to put an 8x10 shed in and have another room for printers and maybe even a work area. I just need more room. I've literally run out of room here. And it's tight. It's a little confined. I mean, I'm not claustrophobic or anything, but it's very confining, and I'm running out of places to put things. So, we got to get that fixed up. First time playing Snowbird. There you go. Anthony says you'll learn fast. Yeah, probably. So, like I said, I got a lot of big plans. I do have limited resources money-wise, but like I said, I'm free and clear with money now. I mean, basically about $500 or $600 a month I've got to play with. If I really need to. I got some stuff to take care of in the house too, but I hope to get that done next month. I got to rebuild my kitchen a little bit because the sink is a disaster, and my refrigerator, I bought a new braided line for it because my wife convinced me it was leaking at the line. Put the new line in, fire it all up, big pool of water underneath the fridge. So apparently, I think it's the unit that controls the water on, the outside water dispenser and the ice dispenser and probably the ice maker. One of them lines could be blown underneath there. Well, I bought another unit for that fridge because at the time I thought that the old one was bad because it gave me problems before. So I bought another unit. It was really, I think it was only like $40-some. And I wound up not needing it because it corrected its own problem. And basically what was happening was the servos weren't kicking in to bring me, water for the dispenser, and the ice wasn't making right either. So I got to get that straightened out. So I got to pull that apart on the fridge, probably change out the unit. Maybe a line blow. I mean, it's leaking water bad. It's not like a drip. It's like almost like a swimming pool in the kitchen in an hour's time. So, fucking thing after another. Sean says, just convert to engine and then you'll have lots of room again. Problem is, my fat fingers and my closed vision, I can't do N scale. I tried N. When I got back into it back in 2010, after I had the stroke, decided to jump back into trains. I started out with N scale and I had so many issues that it's just crazy. I sold everything and went back to HO. So, if I were 30 years younger, I'd probably consider it. But being my immediate health problems, with the stroke and all that, and it's not going to work for me. It sucks because you're right. I'd have like a city here, man, with N scale, Oh well, what are you going to do? Derek says, check the little Chinese copper pipe. They get pinholes in the middle for no reason. I don't have any copper pipes in there, man. It's all vinyl tubing. There's like seven hoses. So I had one break already. That's what happened last time. It was spraying water all over the place, and I had to get a shark tooth coupling or shark tooth like coupling for it. Put it back together, and that took care of it. So yeah, it's a Frigidaire refrigerator side by side. I paid $1,300 for it. It was on sale at Home Depot. And I was just reading an article. At Home Depot, everything they sell is basically substandard garbage. As far as appliances go, they said, don't ever buy an appliance from Home Depot. It looks like the good stuff, but it really isn't. It's like the rejected shit that they can't sell in real stores. That may be true, because I've had a number of problems with this refrigerator. It's only 5 years old. No, actually, almost going on 6 years now. It cools fine and all. It's weird. If we have a power outage or a power surge or something, it goes into like a limp mode and doesn't work properly. So what I have to do is shut it off, wait 30 seconds, turn it back on so it resets, and then it works fine. First time it happened, I didn't know you had to do that, and we lost a whole bunch of food because, it got warm in there real quick. God damn it, what the fuck's wrong with these things, They can't keep nothing simple. Let's put electronics in there. It's all digital, you know. And you can't fix the damn things. Back in the old days, you know, if it was freezing up right now, you had a bad defrost timer, mechanical timer. Cost you $15-20. Went down, you got one, you unplugged the old one, plugged new one in, you're good to go. And really, unless the compressor took a shit, the fridge would last forever. That's just bullshit, you know. Seems like those through the door ice and water refrigerators break. Well, they do for some reason. I mean, it was the first time I got one of those, and I said, that's really cool. I had the money, so I bought it, you know. I had a French door refrigerator in there with all that shit. It came with the house. Problem is, the last tenants, they poked holes in the evaporator coil. $3,000 refrigerator, I had to throw it away. They're lucky they weren't there, I'd have shot them. No. Dave says, yeah, Dave, there's an ice maker epidemic. There might be. Sean says, nice, James. Hey, I got an N-scale mystery box for Christmas. It had the turbo liner. Oh, that's cool. That's a hell of a mystery box, man. Derek says, coming from the wall. No, that's what my wife thought it was coming, you know, because you got the shut-off in the wall, and then the braided line goes from that to the fridge. She said she saw water running down the line. You know, I should have checked it myself, but I just figured, well, you know, she probably knows what she's talking about. Clearly she didn't. And that wasn't the problem, so. It's always something. You just can't win. All right, Andy, have a good one, man. I know it's getting late for you, so I'll go and turn off the computer and get some sleep. And we'll see you next week. So, yeah, it's just, he says one thing after. Now, that's the thing with this house. You know, house was built in 94. It's not crazy old. My other house was built in 69. And most of the problems we fixed before they came problems. This one, I'm kind of just learning, you know, what needs to be done here and there. Hey, Bernard! What's going on? Good to see you here. So I got to get that taken care of. And then, like I said, it's back in the train room. I got to replace the faucet in the sink. The two braided lines, because they are leaking. I had to shut the cold water off because it was leaking so bad. So now I've got just hot water on the faucet side, and I think it's leaking a little bit too. And you know, it's got one of those pull-out nozzles, sprayers, and that hose is leaking. You got to leave it hanging out, otherwise it drips back down and gets into the floor of the sink. So, just one fucking thing after another. I try not to think about that too much because, you know, it's like, really? I don't know, fucking problem. You gotta throw this on me too? That it is what it is. So, anyway. Getting back to trains, like I said, those are my plans. I don't have a whole lot to do on the layout itself. I mean, there's always things to do. I got to work out the second level, but, you know, until I get the Helix in, it really doesn't matter because I can't actually do anything up there because there's no way to get from up there to the first level. So, you know, why am I worried about it? I mean, I could still hook up things like turnout controls and that sort of thing, but it's not really a priority. Once the Helix is in, then it becomes a priority because it has to be operational. So I'm not too worried about that right now. Like I said, I want to try and get all these logos squared away. There's a little bit of work done that needs to be done, building-wise and such, but nothing of, you know, that really needs to be done immediately. So I'm not too worried about that. Thomas G knows how to do. Yeah, he does. Well, that's what I said. He's helping me out he gave me a template for the one piece. And same thing, he brought me one of the uprights for the spacers. And I can 3D print those. Those will be a piece of cake. Now, they're made out of gator board too, but I think I'd rather have actually PLA plastic. It'll be much stronger. And it won't cost me hardly anything to make them. Because I priced out just the components, you know. I'm not sure where he got his from, but I think some Helix company here in the States, I can't remember the name of them, but that's what they specialize in, both HO and N scale. They've got single and double. I'm just going to have a single track. There's enough room for a double track, but I don't think I'm going to do a double track. I think a single will be fine. You know, keep it simple. Seems to be going around you. Some of us have broken houses. Ain't that the truth, man? You know, it sucks. What are you going to do? As I said, they don't make anything worth the shit anymore. You know. I got a $7,000 gas stove in the kitchen. It's it's like the same ones you'd see in a restaurant. Got 8 burners, 2 ovens, a hot plate, I guess you'd call it, or you can actually cook burgers or steaks on. Big ass can't remember what the hell it's called now. Hood over it. And it's nice. I've only had one problem with it so far. I had an igniter go bad in one of the burners. And it's a name brand. It's a 5-star, I think. So I had to find the manual for it, order the part. Yeah, griddle, that's the word. And order a new igniter, which goes behind the control knob. That fucking igniter, a piece of fucking plastic, a couple of wires on it. It was like $52, man. I'm going, holy shit, you know. And then on the hood, and I don't know why they did that. I think, sure, somebody screwed around with this thing, and they tried to make kind of jerry rig it, you know. Sorry, I almost messed up there. Sorry, guys. There's 2 inset lights, which I've got LED glass spotlights in, so that illumination above the stove. Those look like they belong there. It looks like somebody had put fluorescent tubes underneath the thing too. Why would you have both? Well, they don't work anymore. The fluorescent tubes, the starters are bad in them. There's no bulbs in them. And why would you use them anyway? I'd rather just use the 2 LED spots. So the switch to turn on the overheads, or no, the one that turned on the fan, it fried on me. So I go, well, shit, I got to get another switch. Well, if I went to 5-star, that switch was like $90. I kid you not. So I went to Amazon, found the same damn switch. It's even illuminated. Carries the same amperage and everything else, so not like it's going to melt on me. I paid like $18 for it. Popped in, we're good to go. So that's so far, that's, the only problems I've had with the stove. I know how to work on them, so that's a good thing. Now, at some point, the motor's going to go bad in the, what the hell? I can't remember shit tonight. In the hood. Because it's dripping grease. So it's probably a good sign that it's on its way out. It sounds good and all, but that's a $500 component when it goes bad. And that has to come from 5-star because it's not a normal motor. It's a motor with dual squirrel cage fans on it. So I'm not going to fool around. I'll just get the right one that belongs in it when the time comes. But yeah, it's $500. The hood itself is $3,000. And I go, are you kidding me? It's just a chunk of aluminum with a motor in it and a couple of lights. It's crazy. But, that's the way it is. Dave says, go old school gym match. Well, we had power outage after the hurricane. That's how we had to do it. We had to light it with I had one of those lighters, long lighters. Started up that way. Hey, Rick's Trains. How you doing, Rick? Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, that's not a big deal, but I like the gas stove. I mean, at first I was kind of wanted to get rid of it because, the wife's kind of forgetful, and you can't be forgetful with gas. But she's done really good, and of course I enjoy cooking. It's just like cooking on a grill, So and it's actually saving me a ton of money. Plus, I looked at an electric range, which would have to be the same physical size. I think it's 60 inches wide, something like that. It's a big old, big thing. And to get the electric counterpart was also $6,000. Well, shit, I ain't paid $6,000 for no damn stove. I'll build a bonfire out back first, or just fire up the grill. Hell with it. So I decided to just keep the gas. Bernard says, "Oh man, I'd like to have a commercial stove. Got stew going on the fireplace. It's mainly potpourri. Makes the house smell really good. Yeah, I'll bet. No, it's nice. I love it. Said this place. It was originally built by my next door neighbor's dad, and he built it back in '94. They used this as a winter home, and it was the only house in this area at the time, basically in the woods. And they built it for like entertaining, so everything is top notch in here. It said French door refrigerator, $3,000. Maytag dishwasher, that's like over $1,000. I got a trash compactor. We don't use it. It does work, but the bags are so expensive I ain't screwing with it, but it does work. You got the stove, the commercial stove, and it had front load washer and dryer, but the previous tenants destroyed those. I want to replace them, both of them, and I won't do a front load washer. I don't like them, so I got a top loader for the washer and a front load dryer. But yeah, everything in there is it's very expensive stuff. The house originally sold for $650,000 back in, I think it was around '06, right before the crash. And then I paid $172,000 for it. And the only reason I got it so cheap is because the previous tenants did so much damage to it. I put $66,000 in this place. I had to replace appliances. The water heaters never been cleaned, or I replaced them, put tankless heaters in. There's 2 of them in the house. Had to completely rebuild the guest house. I wouldn't let my dog in there. It was so bad, So there was a lot of work to be done, but overall I still got a good deal, so I like the house, but it is what it is. But I hate when shit breaks, because you kind of like get it in your mind that, all right, well, this is quality stuff. It should last a while. The central air conditioning, that was, the outside unit was 10 years old. So they replaced the outside unit, the condenser. But the air handler inside was from '94. Mismatched, which is a big no-no for any of you guys know anything about HVAC. You always have matched systems. I had nothing but problems with the air conditioner from the day I moved in. So I finally just, I'd fix it and it'd break, something else would break, I'd fix it again, and I said, you know what, screw this. I ripped the fucking thing out, put it out in the front for the trash, the condenser, and I bought a mini split for the main bedroom, a mini split for the second bedroom, and later this year, probably by summer, I'm going to put another mini split in the living room. And I'm saving a ton of money by doing it. So that's the way it's going to work. All right, John, well, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Have a fun and safe weekend, and we'll see you next week. No, it wasn't a train. It was a, shit, what the hell was that thing? I can't remember. It wasn't a train, though. I can't remember the name of it now. It's been a while, but I just got tired of screwing with it. Well, the condenser wasn't so much. I mean, I had replaced the start capacitor in it, and of course cleaned coils, and the contactor went bad. I replaced all that shit, no big deal. But the problem started, then the problem got into the air handler. Well, the PC board was screwing up. Well, I don't even know if you could find a PC board for a unit that old. I didn't want to buy another air handler and then have to install it and all that, so we're talking Freon. It would have just been a nightmare. I said, you know what? Screw these things. They're only in one room at a time anyway, so why not, air conditioner heat the room you're in and forget the other ones, Like at night, we turn the heater on sometimes at night. We haven't during some of these cold spells. The rest of the house, I don't care how cold it gets. Ain't nobody out there, We're in the bedroom. It's warm in there. And even with that, it doesn't run the bill up crazy high. Now the central air conditioning, I said that had heat as well. You run that thing for, a day, and it was probably like $30-40. I mean, it was ridiculous. I said, enough of that. Rick says appliances are not made to last anymore. I had the appliance store tell us that we go through washer and dryer every 6 to 7. Yeah, I believe that. Same refrigerators. I mean, most Whirlpools out there they've got it down to the day, man. 5 years to the day, and then it blows up. I went through 2 of those back in Naples, and I said, I'm not buying another one. As I said, I bought the Frigidaire thinking it'd be better. I'm not a big LG fan. Some people swear by them, but as far as I'm concerned, they're just overpriced junk like everything else. So even washing machines. I mean, I bought a used washing machine. I paid $200 for it. Yeah, $200 for it. No. What did I pay for that thing? $100? Yeah, I paid $100 for it. It's a year old. It's a GE. And, it's not the best one out there, but it's fairly new. And like I said, I knew the guy that sold it to me, reputable. And because they sold their house, and they said, well, we can't take these with us. We don't have to leave them in the house. We're just going to sell them. They wanted to sell me the dryer because I don't need a dryer. I got a new dryer, I bought a new Frigidaire dryer a year prior. But for $100, the thing works great. But once again, it's all electronic. The fucking thing's got like 12 sensors in it. Why? You don't need them. It's got a sensor to detect if there's water in the bottom of the drum. It's got a sensor to detect if the water level goes too high. It's got a sensor if... all these stupid things. All that is shit that's going to go bad, And when it does, the thing's going to go out to the, to the curb. I ain't going to fix it. It ain't worth fixing. If I could find one that was in really good shape, like new old stock. I used to have a GE washer. I got paid like $400 for it brand new. This is back in the 90s. They have a lifespan of about 20 years on them. I would buy another one, and I could fix it. If it doesn't do its thing, the timer's bad. You pull the cover off, you pull the timer out, you go down to the, the appliance parts house, you buy a new timer. They're they're probably about $50 now, because they used to be cheap. Pop it in, you're ready to rock and roll again, The only other thing that go bad is a belt or a motor. And very rare they have a transmission problem with them things. I had a Whirlpool they bought off my mother-in-law back in Naples, and we bought the pair, washer and dryer. They're fairly new. They're like 2 years old. My wife's doing a wash one day. She says it won't fucking spin. Okay, so I'm looking at it. I'm going, well, maybe the belt blew on or something. Well, it doesn't have a belt. It's direct drive. Oh, shit. So that means a transmission problem. So I get on YouTube. Thank God for YouTube sometime. Find out that there's a little rubber bushing like thing that's in between the motor and the transmission, and that shears off. You hear the motor running, which I did, but nothing's happening. The part was like $20, and the new part, the replacement part, was a new and improved thing. Wasn't supposed to shear up like the old one. It was rubber, you know. Took about 15 minutes to put it in, you know. You pulled the sheet metal off the washer, and there it was, and just slide it in there, and you're ready to rock and roll. I'm thinking, okay, not bad, but why did they put a fucking rubber bushing in there? You know, or what I guess you call it really a drive shaft, but you know, why not a metal one? You know, maybe rubber covered metal to take the vibration but still hold up. But no, let's make the whole thing out of rubber. You know it's going to break. And it did. Now, if I had called in a repairman for that, probably would have been about $200-300 for 15 minutes work. Oh, bullshit. So, you know, there's always something. Let me back up here. Some of you guys got ahead of me. Why it's not? I already seen that one. There you go. Rick says my daughter-in-law worked in the parts department of the appliance store. Repairman can't even keep up with the repairs. I believe it. That's all bullshit, man. Seen someone buy a dishwasher, needed to hook it up to the Wi-Fi to use all the functions. Oh, I know. My washer used to be that way. Well, not dishwasher, but the clothes washer. I mean, you didn't need Wi-Fi, but it had that capability. You could turn it on and change all the settings from your phone from wherever on the planet. I'm going, who fucking needs that? You know? It's just ignorant. John says we live in a throwaway economy. Bet your ass we do. And that shit needs to stop, man. It's just wrong. Remember the old International freezers? I got my grandma's, I think I was like 44 or 45. Lasted over 50 years. Sold it still running, may still be going strong. Yeah, probably. Well, as I said, I had a, fuck, what the hell was it called now? It was an old refrigerator. I can't remember the name of it now. It had the locking handle on it. It was from like the 50s. I don't know, but the name will come to me in a minute. But it was given to me. I had it in my shop for 9 years. I gave it to somebody else. As far as I know, it's still running. You know. That's when they made shit that worked. Of course, it wasn't frost-free. So you had to chip the ice out of it every couple of weeks. Otherwise, your freezer would start out like this and end up like this. You know, from the ice. But other than that, you know, they were good, you know, good appliances. Let's see. Tom Grass says, I have a refrigerator that my parents got in 54 and it's still working brand. And it's still working brand Westinghouse. There you go. That's what I'm saying. They built shit to last back in the day. Now, Bernard says, bingo, that junk. Hey, junk is junk. Absolutely. You know, the worst part is it's expensive. As I actually looked at, you know, my wife, because I can't believe you're looking at another refrigerator. Buying it. I said, well, you know, I'm going to get to a point where I'm tired of fucking with this thing. It'll go out to the curb. I'll go buy a new one, you know. Well, I looked and like the cheapest I found was $1,099. You know, because I want the drink dispenser and ice dispenser because I'm spoiled. And that's the cheapest you could find. Same brand, it's a little updated, you know, but I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, how do they get so much money for these things? They had they had one, it was a Ice King, I think, something like that. $10,000. And I'm going, what fucking moron would spend 10 grand on a refrigerator? You know? Apparently somebody will because they have them. But I mean, that's crazy. Those 12-year-old Chinese kids get paid by the piece. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, Tom, I still have one that I was going to make a smoker out of it, and them old Servals, the propane ones. Oh, there you go. A traumatic Punky Brewster episode comes to mind. Yeah, I'll bet. Hey, everyone, just listening in the background, just had the wisdom teeth out. Ooh. Willow? I don't know, Brad. That's right, you're Brad. I remember someone was Brad. Well, that sucks, Brad, but at least you don't have to deal with them anymore. I had mine taken out a long, long time ago. I don't really miss them. Hey, Trackside Mike, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. Yeah, Bernard goes, frickin' ridiculous calling your fridge to see what's inside. Think they all slice and dice and they julienne fries too. I know, it's ridiculous. They have ones now that can actually order food from a list that you put in because it takes inventory of your fridge. All by itself. I mean, it calls up probably Walmart and says, hey, send some mayo over and some of this and some of that. And it's like, I don't need no fucking machine doing that shit for me anyway. I ain't that damn lame yet. Hope I never do. But I mean, and people buy into this shit, when I was doing the handyman before the stroke, I was in this one place. It was in Port Royal, Pennsylvania, Naples. And the woman had this refrigerator. It was one of those refrigerators. It had a big screen on it. Big LCD screen. And it did everything. You could lock people out of it. You had it where it would take a fingerprint to open it. So that would be programmed in that you were allowed to go in the fridge. I'm going, come on, really? I mean, if you got that kind of a problem in your house, that's not the way to solve it. There are other ways to solve it. It's just crazy. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it is what it is, It just pisses me off because, like I said, I don't like to deal with shit that breaks, I'm getting at that age where I don't want to fuck with anything anymore. I just want to play with my screens. As I said, my Ford Ranger, still down, still needs a fuel filter, still haven't done it yet. I don't know when I'll do it. I'll have to do it because nobody else is going to. But I'm just kind of dragging my ass on it. By the time I get to it, the fucking truck might just rust off its frame. Who the hell knows? The trackside Mike says that the fridge could just go to work for it to be perfect. Yeah, there you go, right? When it makes me money, then maybe I might be interested in that sort of shit. And he said, then I could stay home, work on the layout. There you go, right? Yeah, that's some crazy shit, man. Sparky, where's Sparky? Sparky sneak in here and I didn't even see it? I don't see him anywhere. Oh, he's probably, I gotta quit doing this. I always have the top chat, not the live chat. He's probably in there somewhere. That person probably has a fingerprint bio chastity belt for the way. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it. And they still make them things? They probably do. Be my luck, I lose the damn key. Or the batteries would go dead. I got one of those, security safe things. It's all digital. I go to type in my code and nothing happens. Fucking battery's dead. And it's got a backup key slot. And it's hidden. And I go, shit, what'd I do with the key? I did find one. And I mean, I'd have been screwed without the key, because that's where I kept my tax money at, because I pay that cash. Trackside Mike, because I don't know, but you say his name 3 times, he shows up. He might. I don't see him here anywhere. So I don't know where that came from. No. Cat just got delivered in a box. Had to have it put to sleep. Oh, that's sad. Oh, so you got the body back? Okay. Wow. Ashes, I assume. Yeah, that's not good, man. Sorry to hear that for sure. Been there, done that. Not with cats, but, I've got 2 dogs so far that I've had to, say goodbye to, but it sucks. The cats are doing pretty good so far. So we got 5 in the house, 3 outside, and 2 dogs, and a number of chickens. Now Deb, she's fostering 5 of the cats. Like he said, when they gonna adopt them out? We're gonna wind up keeping these things forever, which, I liked them, but it's just too many animals in the house. But it is what it is, I guess. So one of the people that helps foster the foster program, we met up with her yesterday. She was like 40 pounds of cat food. I said, I just bought cat food. But hey, what it is. Hey, Floyd Robbins, how you doing, Floyd? Good to see you here. Yeah, but it's hard to lose a pet, though, man, because, they become part of the family after a while. And it don't matter whether they're cats, dogs, or whatever. Unless it's a chicken. Nobody cares about chickens, but... Cats and dogs, though, definitely, so... Like I said, it's hard to put down a family member. But, the good thing about cats, though, is they live an unusually long time. I think their average lifespan is like 28 years. Where a dog you might get 18 out of, if you're lucky. So, but it is what it is. So what else? Oh, so that's my big plan for the train room. I don't really have anything else planned at the moment. Of course, I'm sure that could change in a heartbeat. Bernard says, bummer, Rick, I've got a half acre of our buried dogs. Hard to lose a friend like that's true, man. And we got my 2 dogs, Turbo and Buddy. They had them cremated, and they're sitting up on the mantle. I suppose one of these days I might have to bury them. I don't know. My other dog, Roxy, she passed away, but before I can take her down to have her, euthanized, she got out of the door somehow, and I think the hawk got her. Never did find her. She's blind and deaf, so she couldn't have gone far. But we have a hawk in there, and she was small enough. I think the hawk got her. Yes, there is, actually. That was another gift I won from Vinny. Where's that thing at? Oh, yeah, there it is. I never decaled it. I built it, but I didn't decal it yet. I'll have to get around to decaling it one of these days. Not really big on airplanes, but hey, it was a gift, so, I figured why not. I've been to too many things around. I said model cars and planes and trains and the wooden cars up there. Those are all pretty cool. And I've got another one. It's a Chinese Lego. It's a big boy. It's about a little over 3 foot long. The loco and tender. I've got it in the house. I haven't brought it out here because I got no place to put it yet. But I did build it. I got it, when the hell did I get that thing? Last Christmas, I think? Or it was my birthday. I don't remember which. I think it was Christmas. I want to bring it out here and display it, but I got to build a shelving unit on this wall yet, so haven't gotten around to it yet. That's on the list too, you know. Yeah, there is a place they will come to your house. Yeah, I've heard of that too. They say it's better for the animal, you know, because they're. I mean, I had to take Buddy; he was in bad shape, and I had to take him down there. We'd already had, you know, they operated on him once. He had cancer. He had a tumor on one of his lungs, and it was just they opened him up and drained. They said 2 liters worth of fluid. And I said, well, you know, what's the deal now? He says, well, we didn't cure him. You know, it's gonna happen again. You might get some extra time with him. You know, that turned out to be 3 days. And he just came back with a vengeance. So we took him down and they put him to sleep right in front of us, which is the first time I ever, you know, dealt with an animal. I mean, some of you don't get mad, but back in the day, they didn't put the animals to sleep. If you needed to put one down, you took them out back and shot them. I've shot quite a few animals, you know, back in the day. It's a very hard thing to do, by the way, but they said they didn't do it. At least I wasn't aware that they did anyway. So we took care of it ourselves. But so that was the first time that, you know, I was present when they put the dog to sleep, and it was kind of fucked up. They gave him the shot. You know, he closed his eyes. We figured, you know, the doctor said he's dead. All right. So the doctor left, and the fucking dog. It's the weirdest thing, man. Really fucking messed with my head a little bit. He picked up his head, looked at me, and barked, and then. So I don't know what the hell that was about. He's maybe last goodbye there. I don't know. But it really fucked with my head a little bit, you know. He's not dead. And that's because I know he's dead. Well, then explain that, you know. So that was the first time, and I had, you know. Fortunately, Turbo, he died in the house. We had to, you know, take him down there and have him cremated. But he passed away that night, you know, and so that made things a little easier too. So he died at home, you know. And I think everybody should die in their own home, I mean, realistically. Planes are a form of instant gratification. If you say so. I don't know, I mean, they're relatively easy to assemble, though, you know. Literally 2 halves, slap them together, and put on the accessories, and you're done. So, I guess you could call that instant gratification. Rick says, hoping to get all the dwarf singles wired up and working. Oh, cool. I got to do that too at some point for my yard on the 2nd level. Like I said, I'm not in a big hurry because I'm going to print up everything. Hey, Stormy Sky, Dave, how you doing? Good to see. We got a lot of Daves in here tonight. All right, Sean. Well, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and have a safe and fun weekend. We'll see you next week, hopefully. So, yeah, like I said, there's a whole bunch of shit that I got to do here, you know. And that's cool because, you know, I'm looking forward to doing it. But like I said, kind of on a standstill right now, or was. And I think for me, the biggest stumbling block right now is that outside room. I get that built. I think that's going to like just, you know, it's going to be like my second wind, you know. So I want to get cracking on that. But I don't think anything's going to happen until probably March. Because I said next month I want to go to the villages up in Central Florida with Tom Kavitchak and his wife Debbie, me and my Debbie will be going with him. And let's see what I can buy up there. So I plan on spending, a couple $100 if they have some things that I'm going to buy train cars and anything else I think I might want or need, Because I haven't been to a train show in, 3 years now, I think. Last one we went to, we went up with Tom and Debbie, so it's time to do it again. And Deb's been, she really wants to go to the Villages, because she's like entranced by that place for some reason. And I'd kind of like to go too, so that'll be fun. So that's February 7th we'll be going up. Caroline, hey, says my plane models never lasted long. I had access to bottle rockets. Yeah, we used to do that shit with the cars too. Bottle rockets, firecrackers, black powder. We also were able to get our hands on some C4. I had a friend whose dad was supplying ammunition and supplies to the Collier County Sheriff's Department, and he did, in fact, sell them C4. I don't know what the hell they did with it, but, his son, my friend Ray, he'd steal some every now and then. We'd have fun with it. And we had all the black powder you could ever want. Oh. Those were the days, man. Thank God we don't do that today. If you did that shit today, they'd lock you up as a terrorist, probably send you to Gitmo, We used to blow trees out of the ground out in the woods and stuff, I mean, we were smart. We weren't idiots, but, if you did that shit today, you'd be a terrorist, We were just kids having fun. These are the Daves I know. There you go. They do that, they take model cars and find a dirt hill to roll them off of, light the fire, or M80s or whatever. Light it. Boom! Blow that fucking car completely apart. Of course, back in the day, you could buy a model car, 1/24th scale, 1/25th scale, for $2. I was building those things, 1 or 2 a week. $2. My allowance covered that. So, nowadays the fucking things are like $20-$30. That's nuts, man. John Niver says C4 is mind blowing. Yeah, it's some cool shit, man. The funny thing is C4, plastique if you want to call it that, compression is what blows it up. You can set a match to it, it doesn't explode. But if you were to stomp on it, it'd blow your foot off, because compression would ignite it. So, I don't remember. We had igniters for it. I don't remember how they worked, but it was cool. All right, Mike, have a good one, man. You got to get back to work. Oh, you're working late. What do you work, second shift or third shift? Anyway, have a good weekend. Be safe and have fun, man. We'll see you next time. Ray Central Cashews. Yeah, there you go. Like I said, we had a lot of fun as kids, I had another friend. I wasn't with him. He lived in Miami before I met him. And they used to take fucking dynamite, throw it in the lakes, and do some, he had a name for it. I can't remember what it was. But that's how he fished. He just net fished and, wait for him to float up to the top and scoop them up. And illegal as all shit, but, he never got caught. I mean, realistically, that's the way to do it. Second, I'm still here, so it could be second shift. There you go. Everybody's a comedian. Everybody is. Anyway, have fun, Mike. Thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate it. So, yeah, hillbilly fishing. There you go. I guess that's what they called it. Saves you a lot of hassle with, lines and hooks and bait and all the other shit. Just toss a stick in. The fish will come. Probably some other things, too. He never said anything about catching gators. Of course, that's illegal, too, but, I've had gator tail a couple of times. I didn't question where the guy got her from because, like I said, it was illegal to hunt them, and And he said, one time I saw a gator tied to a tree, still alive, but he was missing a tail. Maybe it was the same guy that made the tail for me. Then I don't know, but I don't know if they grow back or not on a gator. I mean, like a lizard will grow back its tail. Will a tail grow back on an alligator? I don't know. John says, I had an Austrian buddy who said he played with a coffee can of black powder when he was a kid. One time it burnt half the hair off his head. Yeah, that'll happen. Like I said, you gotta use a little bit of common sense when you're, fucking around with that shit. That's like, I remember, up north, even as a small kid, 8, 9 years old, my cousin, he made fireworks, for 4th of July and New Year's. He would bring us over a box, and they're talking the good shit, M80s, ash cans, cherry bombs, the shit that would blow your hands off. And, well, we never blew our hands off, obviously, but there were people out there that I didn't know. You'd read about them, the day after 4th of July. 8-year-old Timmy blew his hand off because he forgot to let go of the cherry bomb. Well, that's just plain stupid. And stupid does, on occasion, correct itself. So, what are you going to do? Ray says, alligator's not... Well, the tail is. I don't know about the rest of it. But I've had gator tail on 3 occasions. If it's cooked right, it's really good. But if it ain't cooked right, it sucks. And twice it was cooked right. The third time, which was actually the second time, the guy didn't cook it right, and it didn't taste good. I couldn't eat it. It was just disgusting. And no, it doesn't taste like chicken, amazingly. Because how people always say, it tastes just like chicken. No, it doesn't. It was more like pork, to be honest with you. Yeah. Well, like, a real... I said, if you cook it properly, they deep fried it. Yeah, I think they deep fried it, and it literally falls apart in your mouth. I mean, it's good stuff, And they serve it in some restaurants down here. I've never bought it in a restaurant. It's probably not cheap. I mean, gators are more known for, purses and shoes and stuff. But yes, the tail is edible. The rest of it, probably not. Yeah, there you go. Derek says, yeah, Ray, but they make nice wallets. And boots, And women's purses and shit. Rick says, we used to launch semi-oil filters up on the air. Yeah, with a little gunpowder. Yeah, what? I did that. I made a missile out of a caulking tube. It was a full tube of caulking. PVC pipe that was a snug fit. 6 foot long, the pipe. Half of it was in the ground. And we had a shitload of black powder and blasting caps. We lit it from a distance, obviously. Well, it blew like a 4-foot hole in the ground. But it launched that fucking caulking canister. We found it. 2 fucking miles away. And that was ours because, I marked it. So, that was a powerful thing, I mean, I just thought a 4-foot hole in our backyard. We ever got caught doing that shit, I don't know what would have happened to us, but today if you did it, like, they'd send you to Gitmo probably, but, we used to have a lot of fun with stuff like that. Good clean fun. Nobody got hurt, I said, we had a little bit of brains involved. Crocodiles are not edible. You will get into serious legal trouble with SBB and RHB for trying to take a bite out of one of their electric motors. Oh. All right, smart ass. I don't know about crocodiles, whether they're edible or not. I know alligators are, but crocodiles, I don't know. Hard to say. So, Everybody's a fucking comedian. You gotta love it. Oh. Anyway, that pretty much covers what I plan on doing. Next week, like I said, I should be able to show off this observation dome car. I'm looking forward to it because I've been talking about this thing for, what, like 2 years? I haven't touched it. Now I'm going to do something, though. You know, you said, sometimes I just need that motivation to actually, do something. I'm kind of motivated now, I guess. So, like I said, I'm going to converting some of these engines to the soundtrack Tsunami 2s. It's going to be tricky. But now that I know what to do, I know the decoder buddy I got to get's got to have the 2K resistors in it, not the 1K or whatever the last one I bought was. Same price, because they'll put whatever you want in there, but 2K should be finer, 200K, whatever it is. And if I buy any more LEDs, micro LEDs, I'll know to get 1.8 volt and not 3. Because the 3 volts are too much of a load on the decoders. You can put a few of them up, but not too many, or it overloads the decoder and it doesn't work. And once again, I'm kind of a stubborn guy. I gotta learn shit the hard way, Of course, it would be better if, I had some real instructions. But nobody tells you this shit, You can watch all the videos you want on DCC conversion or taking out an ESU and putting in a Tsunami instead, and nobody will tell you this shit, So you're kind of left on your own to figure it out. And of course, you may or may not get it the first time. Tom says, Jim just received email from J.T. Burke, owner of Scale Sound System. He's going to be at Amherst. And the decoder buddy guy, Nick Santo, also will be there. Are you going to that one, Tom? I can't go, but if you go up there and talk to him, man, I'll bet you'll have a million questions for him. Nick Santo, that guy, he's brilliant, man. He's a genius, to come up with the system he did. The only thing I think that he really kind of screwed up on is he should have had, you told me what to do, put tape underneath the lighting adapter. But they should have had something there to isolate that from the decoder buddy board itself. Maybe he could, put a bug in his ear and maybe he'll do it down the road. Who knows? Yeah. Dave from Carolina said, take notes, Tom. Absolutely. Tom said, Jim, I'm going staying with Tammy, Ray, and Artie. Oh, cool. Yeah, they might talk to Artie lately. He was supposed to visit me at some point, but I don't know. I don't think he's been in the States since the last time. So, I don't know if he ever pops in, you're welcome to come visit, but Deb saw it. Joe Rader's dog that he named Tammy. And that's the one he got from Tammy, right? The puppy. Cool dog, Beagle. Yeah, Deb wants one. I think she's about had it with that damn Chihuahua she's got. He's not bad, but, Chihuahuas are not very smart dogs. Tom says, Jim Artie's in the States now. Not sure where he is now. I didn't know that. Cool. Derek says, Thomas all in one room. That should be interesting. Yeah, I'll bet. He's at Tammy's house now. Okay. Well, now we know. Yeah, Anthony said the same thing. And Artie's currently in the U.S. at Tammy's house. Cool. Yeah, John, he's at Tammy's house in Where's she at? South Carolina, North Carolina? One of the Carolinas. I don't remember which one. I said I haven't heard a peep out of him in over a year. So I don't, then again, I don't get notifications on YouTube anymore. So, like anybody does. So it's hard saying, but what was he doing? A Saturday show? Or was it Sunday? I don't remember. South Carolina. Right. And Chihuahuas are narcissists with paws. Yeah, that dog is so fucked up. I think it might be diabetic too, but Deb, she said, I can't afford, to go have him tested. I said, well, he'll die if he is, if you don't do something. So, that dog will sit there. He has a bladder problem. He'll be sitting on your lap, and for no reason at all, he'll pee on you. He's done it to me. He did it to Deb the other day. And I'm going, what the fuck, man? He's a cool dog in a way, because, he's little and all, but he's like dumber than a box of rocks, I mean, I don't expect him to be a brain surgeon, but, I mean, come on. Deb got him from her mother, because she paid $250 for the dog, and the dog peed in the house. So she said, I don't want the dog anymore, rather than trying to find out why and fixing it. So she convinced my wife to give her $250 for it, and now she's stuck with it. And I'm going, what the fuck, and put him down. Well, I mean, I couldn't do it, I love dogs too much, but I don't know. I mean, but the dog really is a problem, completely untrainable. I mean, there's nothing you can do for him, He'll jump up on the kitchen table, his name is Lucky. Lucky, get off the table. He'll get right off, he listens to you. As soon as you turn your head, he's back up there again. He does this shit all day long, And like I said, he's incontinent because, we've got a diaper on him a lot of times. So we call him his nickname is Diaper Dan. But, I mean, it's not good. And Dave says he's just going mind Jim, marking his pride. Well, if it was a little bit, I'd say yeah, because, Pogo will mark too, not on us. But it's just they'll just spray a little bit, But I mean, this dog takes a flat out, he's emptying his bladder. That ain't marking. So I don't know. John says, Saturdays at 8:00 p.m. That's a tough one. Yeah, it kind of is. And like I said, I try and watch as many as I can. Well, I watch certain ones, Like I'll swap back and forth between James's show on Monday and Tom Kavitsak's show on Monday. So I'll go back and forth and try and keep track of both of them. It's difficult. On Wednesday, same thing. Tom's on again. And I swap with him and Tom Grassi. So, that makes it tough too. And, the only one Friday is Tom Roy that I watch. Now, Thursday morning, I try and watch, Crooked Dave, Morning Brew. I very rarely watch On Track Tuesday unless Dave is on. So, basically the last Tuesday of the month, as a rule, I'll watch Dave. I mean, it's really hard to watch them all. There's so many of them, Sometimes, I'll watch a replay, too, but the problem with the replay is you lose all the excitement in it, It's more interactive when it's live. But it's kind of hard to do, Isn't Amherst up by Canada? Amherst is in, is it Connecticut? Somewhere around there, I think. I don't remember. I think it's somewhere up in that area. Northeast. I don't think it's too close to Canada, no. No, I don't know. But too far for me to drive, though, you know, like I said. There's plenty of shows I could do down here, and I'm too lazy to see most of them, too, you know. I said they got one. Most of them are within 50 miles of where I live. You know, they've got one in Port St. Lucie. They got one in Tampa. They got one in Orlando. And of course, they got the one in the Villages, which is north of Orlando. There's a lot of train shows in Florida, but, you know, the reality is I don't have... Well, it's Massachusetts, okay. I know it was one of them states. Hey, Gerald, what's going on, man? Good to see you. You know, I don't have the money to go all of these shows, you know. If I did, I don't know that I would, but I'd be more likely to. They're fun to go to, you know, especially if they got good deals. Now, sometimes they're overpriced, and other times, you know, they're giving shit away. So I guess it all depends, you know, luck of the draw, I suppose, but, you know, I'm looking to get some cheap stuff. And I don't care if it's old or not, you know, you'll see rail cars, rolling stock, you know, for sometimes as low as $3 or $4 each. Yeah, they got horn hook couplers on them and plastic wheels, but, you know, I change that shit out anyway. And really, you know, I could, if I want to repaint the car, that's fine, or if I just like it because it's got a cool logo on it, you know. But that's the way to go. I mean, I could buy new shit and spend, you know, $30 to $90 on a rail car. But why? You know. I mean, I said I'm cheap, you know. What Scale Trains was doing, they had $9.95 on their generic box cars. They all had the Scale Trains logo on it, which, you know, I bought like 20 of them. You know, stripped them of the paint and repainted them in whatever I wanted, you know. For $10 for a rail car, that was a hell of a deal. You know, I don't think they do it anymore, but, you know. Carolina Dave says, have a good pair of walking shoes for him. I heard it's big. John says, Massachusetts might as well be Canada for me, too. For me, too far to drive comfortably. Now, Amtrak, yeah, well, well, the train's not that bad. I might, at some point, maybe go to Ohio to see Dave Thurber. You know, since he's already come here, I got to see him at some point. And I would take the train to do it, you know. It's like a 20-hour train ride, but so what, you know. It wasn't that expensive. It was actually cheaper than an airplane. So, hell yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat, you know. But just, I'm not going to do it this year. I can't do it. Maybe next year. Horn hook couplers, a rivet counter's worst nightmare. Yeah, right. Well, you lose. I just throw them in the trash, you know, the horn hook couplers. And I just bought 10 pair of Katie number 5s. But I want to get 158s. I think the 5 is the same as, or they're compatible with the 158. I usually buy 158s, but the only way you could buy them is like 50 pair or 100 pair. Well, 50 pair is over $100. I intend to get them at some point, but I couldn't do it right now. I just didn't have the money, and I needed the couplers for the P42 and for the two Athearn rail cars, the passenger cars, because I was all out of them. So I went ahead and bought the 10 pair for that. But I've got a few that I've still got to change out. Scale Trains couplers. Oh, well, they're using McHenry's. I don't know what the hell they're using, but they suck. They're plastic. They break. They come loose. It's like, nah. So usually when I buy, well, I haven't bought a Scale Trains in a while, but all the ones I bought, that was one of the first things I converted, was the couplers. So, you know, but, and that's just the way it is, you know. And I guess that's what makes the hobby so interesting, that nothing is really. Number 5 is the same as, all right, 148, okay. So I might get 148s. And I don't know. Like I said, I thought I bought, come think of it, I think I did buy 148s last time. I don't fucking remember. I got the empty package here somewhere. And yeah, and the whiskers are much better because I hate them gold springy things. It's stupid. And that's what the 5s use. Plus, I think, which one has a longer shank? I think the 158 has a longer shank on it. And the 148 has a shorter shank. So, probably what I want is a 150. I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point. Like I said, I changed over. I was using the 119s when I first started. They're good, but they really stick. I mean, it's hard to uncouple the car with those on there. Same shank, okay. Hey, Russ, Rockin' O Railroad. How's it going, Russ? Good to see you. So, and you would think they would just standardize all that shit anyway, right? Why do they got to have 40 different types of couplers? I mean, I understand they got the offset shanks for different applications, but why do they have different couplers themselves? It's dumb. Now it says Katie number 5, compatible with 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, and Jesus Christ, it's all 58, 118, 119, 120. Well, that's pretty much all of them. Well, that works. Thanks for that info there, Tom. I think I was either getting 118s or 119s. And they were good because they were hard to uncouple, even when you wanted to. And that was another reason why I liked them, why I went to them the first time. But this layout here, my track works a lot better than previous track work, so I probably won't have those issues. I said the only issue I've got is with this damn tip up. And yeah, I know they got short, medium, and long shank. I know different applications for that, but the coupler head itself, though, they have different ones. Like you said, you saw the list that Tom just put up. I mean, why? So, I don't know. I don't make this shit, so I have no idea. So like I said, I got to do something to tip up. Now, when I get that motor, man, the only way I can make that work. 119s are normally, yeah, I believe they are. Because tank cars are a pain in the ass to keep coupled anyway. Yeah, I know, offset heads up and down. I'm aware of those. Jim is talking about trains. All night we've been talking about trains mostly. So what I've got to do is the sensors are going to be on this side in the front and on that side at the station in the front for the motorman for the auto reversing, passenger rail. So the only way I can't run, I don't think that the line can go all the way around the layout. It'd be too long for the sensor to work properly. They come, I think, with 8-foot lengths on them. So 8 foot each side of the sensor for a total of 16 foot. So if I mounted the motorman itself, like probably right to the left here, right to the right, I'm not sure which. And then I could run my sensor wires. I've got plenty of room to put them on each side, but because I have the tip up, I'd have to have them disconnect when I flip up the tip up. And then reconnect when I put it. I know they make something for that. Contacts. I'll have to put them in. So. Jim Katie is in Amherst. Also asked that question for you. Yeah, please do, Tom. I'm sure you'll get a pretty complicated answer, too. John says, are you flying up, Thomas? Well, he's not that far from there. He's in Jersey. So that's like next door neighbor almost. So, what is that, like a 4-hour drive? Not even worth getting on a plane for. I said if I was that close, I'd drive there too, but yeah, 4-hour drive from his house. There you go. Boy, I called that, didn't I? It would stop the tank car from going through the tank car in front of it if the shelf stops the car from jumping up. All right, that makes sense. So I've got a few tankers here I've got to change couplings on because I bought a bunch from the rivet counters from Scale Trains. And they got them damn plastic couplers on them. They uncouple all the time. They're not good. So I got to swap all that up. I'll put the 119s on that. Because I think some of the older ones I bought, I swapped them over. And I don't have that problem with them. I don't have a lot of time. I think I've got a total of 8 or 9 tank cars, I think. I'd like to get more. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So, I mean, Scale Trains, I still like their stuff, but I absolutely will not buy any more locomotives from them until they fix the truck problem, and it doesn't look like they're going to. And their their rolling stock, they got nice stuff, but man, it's expensive. Yeah, I think it is the Motorman, yeah. Yeah, it's Iowa Scale Engineering. They've only got 2 of them left in stock. They had 3 when I looked. Tom Grassi looked after I did. They were down to 2. So I don't know if I can get one next month or not. I'd like to. All right, Anthony, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and be safe and have fun this weekend, and hopefully we'll see you next weekend. What the hell just popped up on my screen? Come on, really? What the hell? Avast Premium Security. Like that needs to pop up right now. Stupid antivirus. Good night, George. Who the hell's George? Georgia. That's Anthony Gerald. Oh, man. So, yeah, I got to get it because, like I said, that right now is my best bet. I've seen, I know I could build one out of Arduino, but I really don't want to go there. They have some other versions that aren't as good as the Motorman, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick with that. It's $130, I think, but there you go. I'll take that. I'll take up on that offer, Tom. I don't know if you can get a better deal, but hey, if you could, absolutely. Gerald says, I don't type for shit. Neither do I, man. 2 fingers. Well, hunt and pack, you know. Actually, I don't even use the right hand anymore because it's useless. And sometimes I can use 4 fingers on the left, but not often. That's why it takes so long to get an answer from me when you ask a question, because I'm... I don't know, but it is what it is. But so, you know, that's on my list of things that I need to get as well. That's probably the only electronic device I absolutely have to buy at some point. The rest of the stuff, I can make a lot of my own stuff. Like I said, the turnout controls, I'm using servo motors and rheostats. It'll work out just fine. It'll be a slow motion switch machine the way I've got it set up, so it'll work just fine. You know. And it's simple and it shouldn't have any problems with it. Bernard, hi guys, I'm back. Geez, had to do before dark chores and pellet stove needed a quick cleaning. Never made it. The freezing temps today. Damn. I didn't even know you took off, Bernard. Guess I ain't paying attention, am I? Well, you didn't miss too much. But, So yeah, it's just, like you said, it's always something, you know. If I get at least half of this shit done this year, 2026, I'll be happy. It's just half of it, you know. And like I said, the two priorities, well, there's a few priorities, but the Motorman's a priority. The back room is a priority, the 10 by 8 shed, and hopefully the Helix. If I get those three done this year, I'll be satisfied that I accomplished something. The rest of this stuff, you know, I'll get what I can. But those are the three major things that need to be done. So we'll see. John says it was mid-50s here. The past 2 days, rain tomorrow. That sucks for you. It's not bad right now. It's actually saying it's humid out. I put the air conditioning on in here. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 80 outside. I don't know. It was warm today though, not like really hot, but it felt like it might have been 80. A couple of days ago, it was 40-something degrees. So, I don't know what the hell's going on with the weather. I read a thing in the paper on the internet the other day that all the scientists are at odds with each other because new data shows that we're actually in a cooling period for the foreseeable future. Well, what the fuck happened to global warming? Ice caps melting, seas rising, and apparently that was all a lie. Now we're looking at colder weather. Bernard said, Jim, are you using Arduino for your turnouts? Yes. Well, I was. My turnouts on the first level are Arduino controlled, along with I've got the signal crossing. That's going to be controlled by the Arduino as well. The upper stuff I won't need the Arduino. It's strictly electromechanical. They said I've got the small, the 5 gram servos. They're tiny servos. And they'll have a metal rod going from the arm of the servo to the switch bar on the turnout. And I'll use a rheostat with input voltage. I think it's like 6 volt voltage in. That's all you need. And you just turn it one way to sling the thing over and turn it the other way to sling it back. If you turn it slow, you got a slow motion machine. It's simple. I intend to put a couple LEDs in there, green for the main track and red for the diversion. But that's what I'm going to use up there. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got like 8 or 9 turnouts on for the yard. And they're all going to be controlled with that way. And the reason I'm doing that way is because it's easier. And I already have everything I need to do it. Like I said, the ones on the bottom, I use servo motors, but they're controlled by Arduino. It was just easier at the time. Well, it was kind of an experiment. You really don't need them. You don't need the Arduino, but it does make it cooler. So you just flip the switch and slow motion machine all on its own. No, I'm not using JMR on anything yet. Maybe down the road I will. Tom's been trying to get me into it, but I don't know if I want to go that route. It'd be kind of cool in some ways, but then again, I got the hands-on thing too. It's like, all right, I'm standing with my cab controller, if you want to call it that, and the train's coming up, and I need to hit a diversion track on one of the yard side tracks. Turn the knob. There you go. I'm right there, and why not? Yeah, I could use a controller to do it, or use GMRI to do it automatically. But why? Tom is really big into automation. I'm not so much, and he's a little smarter than I am when it comes to that stuff anyway. But I'm completely happy with manual operation of some things. Yeah, it's a mini RC servo. It's a 4 or 5G. I don't remember, 4 or 5 gram. They're real small, and they were cheap. You could buy like 10 of them for $25 on Amazon or eBay, one of the places. So I bought a bunch of them, and that's what I'm using. I made brackets. I don't have one handy here, but I 3D printed a bracket to bolt it to the secondary fascia, because I'm going to have it. Everything will be behind the front fascia, which will be fiberboard, and you'll just see the knob there and the red and green LEDs that correspond to which way it goes. So, yeah, Russ, all the ice was going to melt and all of us would be swimming. And Jim's girl Greta, yeah, I don't think so. I'd last about 3 minutes with her, man. She just pissed me off. She just got that angry woman look about her, Greta Thunberg. Well, she's stupid, That girl's been arrested more times than I've got fingers and toes. It's ridiculous. And Al Gore and a bunch of other wackos predict the Earth would be uninhabitable. Yeah, they're all full of shit. That's what I'm saying. It's just, they're all nutcases when you get down to it. Tom Grass says, Bernard, my turnouts can be controlled by several methods. JMRI, DCC Concepts Controller, and my NCE Power Pro. Yeah. Like I said, he's got a lot of automation and some really cool stuff too, man. But, and that's fine. I mean, I think it's cool what he does. I just don't want to do it myself. Not yet, anyway. Maybe down the road, though. Who knows? Where did it go here? All the ice was going to melt and all of us would be swimming. And that's bullshit. And they're still saying that. And the problem with it is, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and he says, parts of the West Coast, the seas are rising. Parts of the East Coast, the seas are rising. Mostly in the Northeast and then down in Miami. Well, water doesn't know the difference between states. Water seeks its own level. If the seas are rising, they're going to rise everywhere. Not just here, there, and somewhere else. That right there tells you they're full of shit, And they know they're full of shit. They're counting on you being stupid. Well, they'll believe us because we're experts. No, you're not. You're liars. As far as Greta goes, she needs a good... Yeah. She's probably still a virgin now. That might be her problem. If it was true, Obama wouldn't... Yeah, exactly, waterfront property. Him and Biden did the same thing. They're both right on the water in, was it Martha's Vineyard? Why would you buy a property that's going to be underwater in a couple of years? They know it's bullshit. We all know it's bullshit. It's all about this and control. Carolina Dave says, yeah, there are some of the layout in my 10 by 10 room, and I have one or two of the one I started in my 32 by 12 building. Cool. Raymond says Greta Thunberg is mentally unstable. She belongs in the fine. Well, I think she's a little autistic, maybe. I'm not putting down autistic people, but she just kind of looks that way, doesn't she? And she, she's not all there, obviously. She ain't playing with a full deck of cards or a full Happy Meal or however they want to do. Yeah, a few fries short of a large meal, right? I don't know, some shit like that. But Russ says almost half of the country is stupid, unfortunately. Yeah, it's true. I mean, the shit that these people believe, you have to be stupid. if people are investing in billions on coastal property, the water's not rising. You're absolutely right, Dave. That's what I'm saying. It's all bullshit, you know. And Tom Grassi said, Bernard, you need to have the correct version of Java and the correct USB driver if you're an NCE user. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's true even with Digitrax. You know, I had when I reloaded my Decoder Pro, it wouldn't accept the Java that I was running. I had to go up to the next one up. So, because I guess I didn't do the update on it, but Java's at what, like 13 now or something like that version. Constantly doing shit. Derek says it was another scam to send them money so they could kick it back to the... Yeah, probably. It's like all this bullshit that's going on now in Minnesota. You can't tell me the government isn't on that. Because those fucking Somalis, they got like IQs of 90. I mean, all bullshit aside. They're low IQ, you know, from Africa, where the average IQ is about 90. How in the fuck would they come up with these complicated schemes to make billions of dollars unless they had help? And you could bet your ass the Democrats and probably some of the Republicans, they were standing behind them, you know, telling them how to do it. You know, if I tried that, they'd probably put me under the jail, man. You get busted, and they get away with this shit. It ain't right. Let's see. Yes, a handful of hair from behind and 6 per watch. Let's create a buck. There you go. I'm telling you, that's what she needs, man. She needs a good... Greta proves that the bigger the tits, the smaller the brain. Yeah, I understand she has some pretty big tits, man. There was a picture of her in a t-shirt about a year ago, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. You can't tell because of the way she dresses, you know. That's a little weird. And it's still a good trade-off, though, you know. What would you rather have? A really intelligent one with no tits? Or a dumb one with big tits? I'll take the latter, thank you. Tom Strange is 68. All right, what's 68? I hear the Somali government was involved. Yeah, well, I'm sure they were. You know, like I said, this isn't a handful of, you know, Somalis that came up with this shit. And it's not just in Minneapolis or in Minnesota. It's in several, they said in Texas, possibly even here in Florida. Matter of fact, our governor's talking about creating some new laws that will protect Florida from this bullshit. You know, but once again, the government's real quick to hand out money to minorities, but the rest of us can go pound sand. It's bullshit. Greta needs her bottom to be paddled. Yeah, but not with your hand. Bernard says, thanks, Thomas. I had a fair grip on it, but during the snafu years, I forgot so much. Speaking of, there's our Arduino man. Right there. Hi, Arduino man. Hi, Tom's saying. Yeah, Tom is the expert. Oh, Gerald says 69, but you owe her one. That's a good one. I like that. Of course, I'd be a little leery about going down on that, you know. You don't know where it's been. Or what's been there, anyway. With a wooden paddle. No, not with a wooden paddle, man. She needs more serious discipline. Now, we haven't heard about her in a while. Now, last time I heard about her, what the hell was her last thing she was doing? I know she tried to go to Israel, and they threw her out of Israel. Oh, it was Italy. She was in Italy and dyed the Venice Canal green. And the Italian said, "You got to get the fuck out of here. Don't even come back." And they threw her out of Italy. Now, why she died to the Canal Green is beyond me. What would you recommend? I told you what I'd recommend. She needs a good pounding, man. I'm telling you. Spray it, spay it first. There you go. That's a good one, Bernard. I still go back and watch some of Tom's Arduino videos for info. Oh, I do too, because he's smart. He knows Arduino like the back of his hand. As I said, thanks to him, I was able to, get some of it working on my turnouts. And I still like Arduino. I mean, there's a lot of applications for it in our hobby. So, it's really not, it's not as hard to work with as some might think. Use a broom handle. No, something bigger than that. A baseball bat, maybe the big end, Yeah, I hear you, Tom. I don't think I would either. I don't know. How old is she? She's like, what, 23 or something like that? She's not real old, I mean, her mind is probably 10. But, her body, I guess, is like 23. She needs a boyfriend. For real, Problem is, no fire hydrant. I don't know. I ain't going there. But, there's probably not a guy around that want anything to do with her. Because, could you imagine how bossy she'd be in the bedroom? And, it's I think most guys would run away before they even got to the bedroom. Oh, I thought she was 10. Her brain's 10. Tom says she needs to go away. She won't go away. She's trying to be relevant in today's society, but, she's really just making an ass of herself. But, what are you going to do? Took the words right out of my mouth, Russ. Been going back and refreshing on Tom's how-to show. Oh, yeah. I knew he would get to the gutter eventually. We always do. Yeah, Charles will keep her mouth full. Yeah, that's true. It'll keep her from talking. Maybe. How dare you? Yeah. If nothing else, she'll go down in history for that line. How dare you? Imagine if she was in charge of the homeowners association. Oh hell, man! They'd probably kidnap her and bury her underneath the HOA. Jesus, she's just one of them people. I mean, she was probably spoiled as a kid. Her parents probably spoiled the shit out of her. She probably did need her ass spanked more than once. But, they don't do that over there in Sweden. They don't believe in physical discipline, so there you go, right? There's proof of how that turns out, but I don't know. Yeah, kind of funny in a way. Shark bait, there you go. I think the shark should run away too. Oh my God, Ray. Yeah, that's funny. I don't know. I don't understand these activists, I mean, I guess I'd never been one, because I don't believe we can actually change anything, The powers that be are going to do what they're going to do, It's like that woman that just got killed by ice and, that was in Minnesota, wasn't it? Yeah. And everybody's going ballistic. Oh, they shouldn't have killed her. She wasn't doing it. The woman was a paid protester. She's a lesbian. even her lesbian wife or whatever the fuck she was, got out of the car and walked away because she probably saw it coming. But now she's blaming herself because last I heard she claims that she forced her girlfriend or wife or husband, whatever the fuck they are, to go to this protest and stand up for the illegals. And, you got to ask yourself some serious questions here. First off, what benefit is of it to back the route for the illegals? They're not doing anybody any favors here. They're actually hurting things for real Americans. And if somebody holding a gun and a badge says, "Ma'am" or "Sir, you need to move out of the way," you don't fucking argue with them. You do what you're told. Or you need to get out of the car. You just fucking get out of the car. If you argue with them, you're going to wind up taking a bullet, as we've seen. Of course, the Democrats are going to run with us. She could be the next George Floyd. Or they're going to try and make her as such. But the good news is Trump won't put up with that shit. And he shouldn't, because it's bullshit. The woman tried to run down the ICE agent. He shot her in self-defense. She's got nobody to blame but herself. Wouldn't have happened if she'd paid attention and did what they told her to do. And she'd been out there all day blocking ICE agents. So it wasn't like she just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was at the wrong place at the wrong time all fucking day. That's bullshit. Sharks would say foul-tasting fish. Yuck. Good one, Tom. Worms gotta eat too, says Gerald. Well, that's true, but Raymond says Greta always demands to speak to the manager. She has to be criminal trespass at so many places. Yes, she has been. And she think the manager's going to give a shit? If I were the manager, bitch, get the fuck off my property. Nemo meets Greta. Nemo nowhere to be found. There you go, Bernard. That's funny. Russ says, I'm surprised Tuna Iceberg is not rotting in some third world prison somewhere. Well, she probably would be, but unfortunately she's too famous for that. They really can't screw with her because the pushback would be bad, So they kind of got to let her do some things, but I'm surprised too. I figured, somebody would have just took her out and shut her up already, and, that would be the smart thing to do. I mean, it's unfortunate, but true. Tom's Trains and Things says, Renee Good was Minneapolis Ice Watch warrior who trained to resist feds before shooting, according to, I believe that. I know she was paid, Like I said, what the hell is wrong with these people that, I could take on ICE, I could take on the cops, I could take on the federal government. Sure you can. All it'll take is a damn bullet in your face, I mean, that's the unfortunate truth of it, Tom Grassi says you play with fire, you will get burned. That's true. Bernard says, and that ICE agent had been mowed down and drugged down the road before. I'm sure he has. And I said, and the cops are the same way. If a cop gets in front of your car and tells you to stop, and you try and advance on him, you will get shot. It's happened too many times. What fucking part of don't do that and don't die are you not getting? You think they're bullshitting you? They got the guns. I don't always say that they're right. But, like I said, they got the gun. They're in control of the situation. Like it or not, You can't argue with the cop or the ICE agent. If he's breaking the law or doing something illegal, fine. You take care of that in court. You'll win. You'll get lots of money, probably. But if you try and settle it out there on the street, well, you saw what happened, So whatever she got paid from probably Soros, it wasn't enough. But her lesbian wife fucking figured it out real quick and said, I'm out of here, bitch. And maybe she was trying to get the wife fucking off anyway. Who the hell knows, you know? You never know any days what the hell's going on. Gerald said the same ICE agent was dragged by a car a few months. Yeah, I believe it. And bingo, Gerald, he wasn't going to let that happen again. He had every... Yeah, absolutely did. You know. Like I said, they got the gun and the badge. Like it or not, they're in control of the situation. And if you don't want to get dead, you pay attention and do what they tell you. They said if they're wrong or they did something illegal, you'll get them in court. But you ain't going to get them in the street, you know. CNN painted Renee as a total good guy. I know. Well, they said she was a quickie I read earlier. She was a devoted Christian woman. And I'm thinking, no, she's not, because if she was, she wouldn't be, you know, scissoring with another woman. You can't be a good Christian if you're, you know, eating downtown with, you know, the same sex, man. You just can't do it, you know. If the cop is wrong, yeah, you're still dead. That's my point, you know. Bernard says play stupid games, win stupid life-changing prizes. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying, you know. But of course they're already making a big shit out of it, because the Democrats have nothing else to do. They don't want their blood money to go away, and you know, I said, you know damn good and well they're behind all this fucking fraud with the Somalis, you know, to some degree. They'd have to be. Even that Tim Walz, you know, retard Tim, he already said he's not going to run again. This is his last term. He's probably thinking if I run again, they'll get me. And that's the thing, is bullshit. If he broke the law, they should hang him for treason anyway, regardless of whether he's still government or not. You know. Too bad, dude. You broke the law. It's treason. You're getting a rope. Or the firing squad. Doesn't really matter to me. But he needs to get one of them. Tom says, I've been blocked 3 times today because of bringing up facts on X. One was a wannabe congressman from Missouri. I believe it. Protesting law and order is delusional. Absolutely. Tampon Tim, yeah, I know. Well, now he's retard Tim as well. There's a whole thing going on. Who the hell started that? Was it South Park maybe? I don't remember. He's a retard. Oh, he's a retard. He even looks like a retard, you know. But they should investigate whether he got any money out of it. I'm sure he did. And if he did and can't account for it, treason. You know, stealing from the taxpayers is technically treason. You know, you broke your oath of office. That's treason in itself. We got to start killing these people. You know, just put the word out there. If you fuck over your own people or your own country, you lose your life and you lose your wealth. And they should take it all away from them. You know, the IRS will come and take everything you got because you screwed them out of $10 either by accident or whatever. But these guys can screw the government or the taxpayers out of billions, and they don't even get a slap on the wrist. There's something wrong here. So, you know. Like I said, though, but they got to... I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're rioting up there right now, I guess. The last I heard. Trump's going to have to send the National Guard up there and either put them down or do something drastic. You know, before they burn the whole fucking state down. I mean, this shit's got to stop, man. It really has to. That's all there is to it. You know, we've all had enough. We're tired of it. It needs to stop. And they need to go after Soros. Why is that man still breathing? There's death warrants in like 12 countries for him. He can't step foot in their country, they'll take him out. Why isn't there a death warrant for him here? There needs to be. You know. Supposedly the refugees really have Mexican cartel. Yeah, I believe it. You know. And I said Trump was taking out the Venezuelan drug runners. Why don't he take out the Mexican drug runners, the cartels? You know, what's Mexico going to do? Declare war on us? Good luck with that. You know, tell that that bitch running for bitch president of theirs. And look, we're going to take care of this. If you won't, we'll do it for you. You know, what are you going to do about it? They can make all the threats they want, but he needs to go in there and carpet bomb all the fucking cartel labs, man. Take them out. I understand he did one of them like 6 or 7 months ago, supposedly. And, you know, the Mexican government was pissed off. Well, you can't do that. Why not? It's illegal. It's illegal in your country. It's illegal in our country. We took care of it because you wouldn't. What's the problem? Yeah. They need to seize all the money and pay it back to the... Yeah, they should. Supposedly the refugee... Yeah, well... And Tom says, you mean refugees, you mean illegals. Well, basically. You know. That's another thing. You know, look. I'm not really racist. Not really. But I think it's time we got rid of all the rejects in this country. You know. Somalis, Haitians. They're not doing anything for our country. They're stealing from us. They're taking advantage of all the free shit that they have no right to have. The illegal Mexicans, what? Get them the fuck out of here. And if you hate America, you get deported too. I don't care whether you're American or not. You know, these fucking Democrats. America sucks, and what we're doing is wrong. Well, fine. Then get the fuck out. You know, you don't want to be a part of it, do you? So, it's your chance. We're throwing your ass out. Where do you want to go? We'll send you there, right? I mean, seriously, you know. It's bullshit. I was severely threatened by YouTube the whole time Biden was pretending to be president. I was not even using real obscenities either every time I brought up the facts. Tom, yeah, well, that's true. I mean, I got a few warnings. That's why I pretty much stopped talking about it on YouTube. I mean, I do it here because I don't think they're watching. Maybe they are, I don't know. But I couldn't, like, I can't do my wise guy videos on YouTube. I'd be banned for life. Because I don't fuck around, you know. It's like, this is the way it is. These are factual statements I make. You know. I don't care whether you like them or not, but I have the right to say them, and I will. I just won't do it on YouTube. Let's see. Bernard says, you hear Bondi got sidelined on this fraud. JD said today that there's going to be questions that will get it down and does not have to answer to the AG, answer to JD or Trump, not Pam. JD said today. They're all covering up for shit anyway, you know. And I voted for Trump. I like Trump. But I think they got to him, to be honest with you. You know. And you know who I'm talking about. I can't say the word here because, you know, I'd probably get banned. But, you know, I think they got to him. I think he was told one way or the other, you know, you do what we tell you, or you wind up like Kennedy and Lincoln and, you know, all the others that got assassinated. I mean, you can't blame the guy to a point, but it's still bullshit, you know. I think Musk helped the X, but they're still long. Yeah, that's true. Send all these damn Dems to Somalia. There you go. They'd fit right in over there. Well, briefly, before the Somalis just took them out, you know. Russ says, I agree, John. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Well, and even to something now, you know, right now Rumble is real, pretty much you can say or do whatever you want on there and they don't bother you. How long will that last? I don't know. They said that they were getting pressure from certain groups to start censoring some speech, but so far they've said, you know, go fuck yourself. As well as they should. Like I said, for the first time ever, I used the N-word, you know, on one of my wise guy things. Not in a demoralizing way, but in a factual way. I was pointing out the hypocrisy with it, you know. So they can say it, but I can't. If I say it, I'm a hate monger, you know, and a xenophobe. But if they say it, it's okay. Well, it doesn't work that way. If they're that offended by it, they shouldn't be using it either, you know. Like I said, I'm watching a TV show right now. It's called Force. It's really good. It's about this Irish guy, young guy. He goes from New York to Chicago, and he's trying to take over the drug trade there. He's mostly dealing with blacks, and they're all using the N-word, Hey this and hey that, and they use it like it's common speech, like I use the word fuck, right? And I'm thinking, all right, so what are they telling us here, You can't say it, but we can. No, bullshit. If you don't want to hear it, don't use it. Sundally, I agree. Absolutely, Russ. I think it's true. He was doing so good for a while, and then all of a sudden he just, almost like he turned to 180, Same thing. He's not supposed to be, I don't disagree with him invading Venezuela, but I don't agree with it either, Could it cause some big problems? Possibly. But I also think that there might be more smoke and mirrors involved in that than what we're being told or what we're allowed to see, You'd think as much as the people loved their leader down there, that they'd be willing to go to war over it, yet, not so much now. So what's really going on? We don't know, I think Trump is doing this to lower the price of gas. We will take control of Venezuela's oil. We'll get a glut of it. That'll bring the price down. And it seems to be working for the moment. Then there's talk that he might invade Greenland. I think that would be a major mistake. I think we should acquire Greenland. And they were kind of all for it. They said, yeah, we'd love to be part of America. But if we go there with force, that may not be the best thing. Plus, it'll really piss off China and Russia, which, would they really do anything about it? I don't know. Some guy was talking about a few days ago on YouTube. He says, it seems like the three superpowers, us, China, and Russia, are kind of divvying up the world. We're going to get this hemisphere. Russia will get Europe in that hemisphere. And China will get all the Asian countries. And it kind of almost looks like that. Well, plus, I don't know who get the Middle East, but he said it's like a three-way, probably Russia would wind up with the Middle East, too. I don't know. But it almost seems like that's what they're doing. And there'll be three large continental powers. And I don't know what will happen after that, but something's going on for sure. Bernard says it's a new position, Jim, just to find the money because Pam has no balls. Oh, no, she doesn't. And if she did, I'd be a little worried. Sure would be nice to see oil at $50. Well, it's getting there. I mean, Trump said he can get it down to $2 a gallon again. So, what's it at now? It's 55 or 60 a barrel? Last I heard, I think. And which is weird because back when it was $2 or $1 something a gallon, it was like $50 a barrel. So how come it isn't now? So, we're getting screwed somewhere along the line there. But Derek says Venezuela was about Russia and China being too close and chasing them out, but he used the drug boats to get there. If you get oil prices down, Russia has no money to keep up the war. That's probably true. That's what the Monroe Doctrine. Yeah, I've heard about that a few times, the Monroe Doctrine. I know a little bit about it, but not much. It's feasible, so I mean, Trump is not a dummy, I don't always agree with what he does, but somehow or another, it comes out good in the end. So I'm not gonna, make any judgment against him. But again, nobody wants to go to war. Nobody wants World War III. What if war is declared and nobody shows up? That could happen, Hard to fight a war if there's nobody to fight it, I hope that's the way it goes down. Tom says another incident in Portland a few hours ago with Border Patrol. Tren de Agua members tried to run down. Yeah. And he said you're going to see this all over the place now. And they're just going to have to start shooting them. And why they're even here is beyond me. That Tren de Agua, they're a bad gang. They should be executed on sight. Now we round them up and send them to, where the hell were we sending them? That big prison? Was that Argentina maybe? I don't remember, but wherever we're sending them, they shave their heads and they have like 52 a cell. It's bad. But, and like I said, it would be a lot easier just to X them and be done with it. Tom Gray says, Jim, the problem with gas prices going down is the Dem states are raising the gas tax, and that keeps the cost up so they can say Trump didn't. Oh, yeah, I know that. Tom says, Tom's Trades and things says gas was $2.49 at Murphy's Express in Avon. That's cheap. It's down on my end. We got, shit, I can't remember which gas station it is, but Wawa is always a little more expensive than the other one, but I think right now it's down to $2.78. Last time I looked was yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I was in town and it was $2.78 down here on this end. Which isn't bad. Of course, Murphy's is always cheaper than anybody, but it's a long way to get down there. If I'm down that way, I'll do it. When I went to your house the other day, we came back, I stopped at Murphy's and topped off, And I think at that time it was $2.71, I think, a gallon, something like that. It's feasible to get it down to $2 a gallon. Now, what Tom Grassie's saying is true, that they'll just bring the tax up. That's what they did in Naples when I was down there. The price of barrel would get down, gas would start dipping, and then, we're going to throw another 10-cent tax on, Like you fuckers, we should be getting cheap gas. You keep taxing the shit out of it, And that shit needs to stop. Once again, that's probably the Democrats anyway. Tom says Murphy and Avon Park is always 25 to 30% lower than Murphy's in Sebring. Really, that's pretty good. I don't know where the one in Avon Park is. It must be further in Avon Park, right? Because I always go to the one by Walmart there, but I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't be paying 50 cents per gallon, really. It's ridiculous. Now, Trump is saying that the price of groceries are going to start dropping down. Gas will drop down. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Hopefully, the electric is supposed to go down, too. Now, up here we got Duke. They're supposed to be lowering their prices. I think they said mid-year. We'll see. Derek says that's why he wants Greenland too. Russia and China are all around it, and that's the way the missiles would come. Well, that's true. Plus, they have a ton of resources. They've got oil, they've got diamond, they got gold, they have platinum. They got all these fucking rare earth material, rare earth magnets and stuff. They got all that shit. Russia wants that. So does China. We're not going to let either one have it. So Trump is probably going to find some way to get a hold of Greenland and make it ours. Like I said, I would rather him buy it than invade it, Gerald says, oh, wait a minute. You guys are getting ahead of me here. Let me move up there. There we go. There we go. Bernard says, Bingo Thomas, not like they're not going to allow Trump's tax break to go through in blue state, tax on tips, Social Security overtime. That's true. Gerald says, I paid $2.29 a gallon a couple weeks ago at Chevron. That's cheap. I wish it was that low here. Tom says, in front of Walmart at Avon Park next to the Culvers. Oh, okay, at that one there. Alright, I know where it's at. I like the Walmart in Avon Park, but Deb doesn't like it. She likes the one here. I hate the one here, I refuse to go there anymore. Too crowded. We have detection all over the Arctic, but he wants bases in Greenland to get Russia and China out of there. That's true. I mean, I honestly don't think anybody's going to invade America. We're not going to invade Russia. We're not going to invade China. They're not going to invade us either. First off, it's a suicide run. Unless they just nuke the shit out of us, but, and that's assuming nukes are real, and I know some of you guys think they are. I'm not so sure. But even if they are, if they nuke the United States, they also nuke themselves. You know, the contamination will spread all over the planet. Everybody dies. And of course, we're going to retaliate anyway. So we're going to send everything we got to both countries, and probably the Middle East, so everybody dies. I don't think anybody's dumb enough to do it. I don't care how fucking weird you are. It's a suicide mission. You know, it's just not worth doing. Russ says, yeah, gas is always 75 cents to $1 more on the West Coast because I live in retard land here in the West. That's true. Oh, it was gas is $6 a gallon in California, I think. Somebody was saying that. I don't know if it's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. Hell, we're still recovering World War II warbirds from that route. Yeah, probably. I ate all Walmart's while yeah, I do too, Tom. I just don't like the place, man. I don't know what it is. Tom Straden's in. He says, we go to Walmart in Avon Park. Sebring is one practically right across the street, but too crowded. Yeah, it is. And the people are mean over there, man. I mean, the employees. They're just assholes, you know. And I've been to the Avon Park one a few times, and I'd rather go there. It's cleaner. It's not crowded. The employees are relatively nice to you. And Deb doesn't want to go there. I don't know why. You know. So I said, that's fine. We won't go to either one then. Because I ain't going to the one in Sebring. I'm done with them assholes. Bernard says, we got a Christmas present. The gas was $1.94. And again on New Year's Day. Well, that was nice. I wish they'd have done that here. I remember paying 25 cents a gallon when I was a kid. That was in 1969. We first moved down to Florida. My dad bought a Honda moped, and I drove it more than he did, and it held exactly 1 gallon of gas. He'd pedal up to the gas station, fill it up for a quarter, and you were good to go, you know. John says it's down to $2.49 here, $3.49 for premium, but we have the Spamberger coming into office and she'll fuck things up. Probably. That's another thing. We got to get these women out of office. They ain't doing anybody any justice, you know. And they're usually more corrupt than the men are. Hard to believe, but true. Russ says cheapest gas in my area is $3.33 a gallon. Now you're in what, in Washington or the other one? I don't remember. Well, as I said, West Coast is crazy anyway. Derek says, Russ, you were right. If you didn't have all those taxes on the gas, it would be less than $1 a gallon. Probably would be. John says some states tax the hell out of gas like Maryland. Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. As I said, this whole tax shit's got to stop. You know. As that's the problem we're facing here in Florida. Our governor, he's talking about doing away with property taxes for homesteaders, which I'd be one of them, you know. If you live here full time and you have one house, you're a homesteader. Well, you know, I just paid the taxes, you know, on Monday. It's $1,400 fucking dollars. You know, I know it's not a lot of money compared to some places, but you know, it's still a lot of money for nothing. So he's trying to get it's got to go to a vote, you know, in 26 in November, and then the people have to pass it by at least 60%. And the rest of the local government is doing everything they can to fuck it up because they don't want to lose their free money. And it's bullshit, you know. But that was another thing. He says, well, if we do away with property taxes, we also have to have a law that will put a cap on any other taxes that they'll raise instead, you know. So like we have non-ad valorem taxes for garbage pickup in the fire department. Well, they're already outrageous anyway. But if they did away with the property tax, they'll just kick them up to $600 each, or right back to $1,200, and you're paying property tax. So he wants to come up with a law that will prevent that from happening too. I don't know how he's going to do it. I hope he does, but I'm not so sure. New Jersey has the highest gas tax in the country. I believe that. And a fool won't even let you pump your own gas. That's so fucked up, man. I almost got in trouble for that, because when I was up there, I was moving a lady down. I had a big U-Haul, and stopped at the gas station on the Turnpike, Jersey Turnpike, going up to New York to drop her off at her son's house in the Bronx. And I needed gas, so I pulled in, and I get out, and I start pumping the gas guy. Oh, what the hell are you doing? Jesus Christ, you're going to kill us all. What the fuck is your problem, dude? And then it struck me, oh shit, this is Jersey. We're not allowed to pump our own gas here. So, oh, dude, here, you take over. I mean, I've been doing this shit my entire life, down in Florida and everywhere else. I can't help it if you retards don't trust us to pump our own gas, It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Russ is Portland. Yeah, all right. I'm in a suburb of Portland. Gas is much more important. I'm sure it is. I feel bad for you, Russ. You need to get the hell out of there, man. Not good at all. Derek says, it takes a lot of taxes on us to make everything free. Damn socialists don't understand that there isn't enough that you can tax. Even if you took it all, it wouldn't be enough to pay for free. That's true. I know, Tom. That's what I'm saying. There are a bunch of fucking retards up there. No offense, man, but, we all know how to do it. I said, once you get out of, if you go to New York, you can pump your own gas. You go to PA, you can pump your own gas, but not in fucking Jersey. And I don't know why. And somebody told me once, a long time, I forgot, but it had something to do with some safety thing, And literally, they don't trust their people to, pump their own gas. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. Stupid is as stupid does, I guess. I kind of miss Jersey in a way because, I was born there and I spent 10 years of my first 10 years of life there, but the reality, I couldn't afford to live there. Not on what I get paid. The taxes, the property tax alone would kill me before I even got started. Let's see, Thomas. We have a couple of towns in New York that they have to pump. Oh, really? I didn't know that. That upstate? It's not in the city, right? Jersey is the last state. Oregon started allowing you to pump your own gas in August of 22. Well, that wasn't that far back. That's so weird. I mean, we were pumping our gas in 1974, maybe, in Florida. Because, there was only a handful of full-service gas stations left. Most of them, and they still had the old pumps, And you had to know what the hell. I remember helping a lot of old ladies, man. They'd pull up to the pump, and they'd look at it. They didn't know what the hell to do, Well, you had to, swing the lever over after you pulled the pump off. And swing the lever over and wait for it to reset and then pump your gas. A lot of these ladies, they couldn't do it, so I did it for them. I felt bad for them, And they came up with the newer machines that were easier to use. But, and I always figured they did it here to save themselves, the gas stations save money. No more pump jockeys, That's money in their pocket. Did it lower the price of gas any? Fuck no, it didn't. So, it's bullshit, but... as a kid, I remember self-serving full. Yeah, exactly. Same here. Like I said, we had a gas station. It was a Amoco. It was right on the top of our street, 95th. They were full service there. You went in there, they'd pump your gas, check your oil, check the air in your tires, check the winter. I mean, they did everything, And they were a little more expensive than everybody else, but for some people, it was, it's like they didn't have to deal with it. They just pull up and Fill it up, dude, regular, And they took care of it. Of course, some of their pump jockeys were idiots. First time I went there in a fucking Corvair, and the guy couldn't find the gas cap. He's looking, almost ripped my license plate off. I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Where's your gas cap?" "Up here on the front." "What the hell's it doing there?" "Well, the engine's in the back. They can't have the tank, in the same place as the engine, so the tank's up front." "Oh, shit, I ain't never seen nothing like that before." It was funny, Stupid, but funny. Wasn't it because someone had a fuel nozzle stuck in an anal cavity? Was that more? Could have been. You never know. Hey, Jim, it's a good thing they didn't have the old pumps where you had to pump the gas up to the top and the glass. Oh, yeah. Those are real old. That's before my time. Yeah, I mean, these are bad. I mean, like you remember, well, most of you probably do. You had to pull the lever, you had to pull the pump handle off, and then it had like a big lever. You shoved the lever over, which would keep you from putting the handle back in. And then you would go to the machine would reset, and you'd pump your gas, and when you were done, you'd turn the lever the other way, put the pump back on. It would hold the price up there, and that's what you had to pay. And like I said, back then I think gas was, I don't remember, it was 70, 80 cents a gallon. It was cheap, I know that. I really don't remember. But I remember I had my Impala, I had a 65 Impala convertible. Had a 30-gallon tank in it, and it cost a little over $6 to fill it from empty. So you do the math. I'm not good at math anymore, but that's how cheap it was to fill the fucking tank, You'd fill up the tank, drive all over Florida, Had a straight 6 in it with a 3-speed on the column, which I moved to the floor. And you go all over the place for that thing, and it didn't cost you nothing. And now 30 gallons of gas will cost you $90 fucking dollars. I think the most I paid for the Grand Marquis holds 18 gallons, or actually 20. And when gas was really expensive, when it went up there for a bit, it was a little over $4 a gallon down here. And to fill it up from a quarter, I think I spent something like $80, $90 to fill the fucking thing. It's like, you gotta be shitting me, And I was trucking my dad all over the place because he couldn't drive anymore, so it was his car technically, but I'd drive him wherever he had to go. It was a daily affair. We had to go somewhere, Doctors, VA, grocery shopping, church, whatever. So, I mean, I was going through gas like you wouldn't believe, And he was paying for it. But it's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, thank God he had Alzheimer's. If he'd have knew what it actually cost, he'd have probably had a stroke. But it was bad. Hell, most of the guys my age all pump gas. All the gas stations were full service. That's true. True, John K. They had both full and self-serve in the same station. Yeah, I think some of them did. I mean, most places I dealt with that were full service, they were full service. They didn't really want you pumping your own gas. They wouldn't make a shit over it, but they kind of frowned on it because it took away from their guy, that they were paying to do it for you. Derek, dipshits would flood the neighborhood. Yeah, they would. For sure. Hi, Jim. Hi, Mom and Son Train fans. Tammy, how you doing? Good to see, or good to hear from you. So I hear that Artie's over there with you. Is that true? That's cool if he is. And everybody's asking that. So, like I said, it doesn't bother me. I mean, it was nice to sit in the car and let them do it. Like I said, they check your own other shit too. Because I don't do that shit half the time. I mean, I do it on occasion, but not every time I get gas. Unless I know there's a problem. So, I mean, I didn't really mind pumping my own gas, but it was kind of nice to, let somebody else do it. Of course, remember, back in the day when they still had leaded gas, I remember them almost you do, all the pump jockeys were, a little dumb. It was from the lead. So there was that, too. Tammy says, Artie will be back tomorrow. He spent 2 weeks with Anthony Dodge. Oh, cool. Anthony Dodge, isn't he up in Canada? I thought he was anyway. Nice, yeah, absolutely. Artie gets around, man, when he needs to. Yeah, I don't know. I wish things would get a little less expensive here, because I tell you, everything's so damn expensive. And I go to groceries. I spent $164 at Publix. And I spent a little bit more I spent a little bit less in Winn-Dixie. And then I bought, the Omaha steaks. Well, I don't get steak, but get hamburgers and stuff like that. I spent another $140 there. And I'll probably still spend another $50 to $75 before the end of the month on food. Believe me, I'm not eating like no damn king. I wish I was for that money. I ought to be. But, it's just crazy the money that they're charging for it. And you walk out the door, $160 worth of food, $164 worth of food, and you're going, shit, I didn't get much, did I? We still have a gas station that fills gas for us. Anthony's in Ohio, okay. I used to love the smell of premium as a kid. Yeah, I kind of did too, but let it down. Probably explain to you. Well, the beauty of it is, lead will make you dumb, but once you get away from it, it will go away. My dad, he was a painting contractor. He painted houses for a living his entire life. And, it kind of made him a little dumb in some ways. But then when they did away with the lead in the paints, he kind of went back to normal. So it's not a permanent condition, but while you're being exposed to it, it does make you stupid. And that's why, the pump driver, hey, boss, let me do it. I can fix it. They were morons because of the lead, You're breathing that shit all day, every day. But unfortunately, unleaded gas isn't as good as leaded gas. So while we might have been made it a little safer, it's not quite as good as the old lead gas. I'll tell you what. Yeah, the 103 octane, that was at, who the hell had that? Sunoco, I think it was. Sunoco had the white fuel. That was 103 octane. Man, you put that shit in your car and it fucking ran. But, yeah, now you got to use avgas, which you can still get if you know the right people. I was dating a female pilot, and she had connections with the local airports, some of the smaller ones. So, we'll drive down there and fill up your tank and put avgas in there. 110 octane. Man, that fucking car would run. And even though it cost a little bit more, the car ran 30 degrees cooler, and I swear I must have made another 100 horse, because it ran like a rape ape. I mean, it ran good to begin with, but it really ran great on that 110 octane. Yeah, it's probably $7 a gallon. That's actually cheap. My son was buying it for a while. He was paying $10 a gallon at the time. This week we spent almost $600 at the grocery store. Then spent $165 on 4 bags of our deer meat. Probably spend over the weekend on extras. It's killing our budget. Oh, hell yeah, it is. But that's true. You got 4 adults, but it's just me and the wife, And she don't eat a lot of stuff that I do, and vice versa. So she spends some of her own money on specific food she likes. It's rough on our pockets, man. That Artie probably has a healthy appetite. I bet he does. All right. Tammy says he actually doesn't eat much. Maybe he's on a diet. I don't know. I never thought about it, but I don't eat much, you know. I don't eat breakfast as a rule. I have a hot dog and bun for lunch. That's usually all I eat, one hot dog on a bun. And then dinner I'll have either a smash burger or I like cod. I've got codfish or chicken breast or what else do we get? I think that's it. I'll have one of those for dinner along with either some sort of potato or pasta. And that's it. Not a lot, you know. Or pierogies. Love pierogies. And of course that's a potato product too, mostly. And that's all I eat, you know. I still can't lose the fucking weight. And it's costing me a fortune. I mean, on Sunday night we do have steak. You know, I'll buy a couple of cheap cuts of steak and make it last, you know, every Sunday for the month. That's usually about 30, 40 bucks, which isn't bad. They had good sales on steak in Publix this time around. So I usually buy my steak from Winn-Dixie. And they're reasonably priced most of the time, but they had some expensive shit too. They had a $35 roast, like a T-bone, and I think about that thick. Man, I'd love to buy that, but that's a lot of damn money, you know. I don't have the resources for that anymore, but it's crazy. Bernard says, always have 40, 50 gallons of avgas. Jim last 12 years never gums up and don't need stable for long. Really? I didn't know that. I guess it'd have to be better, though, because, you know, in aircraft, you can't afford to have water in your fuel or having your fuel go flat on you or turn or whatever the terminology is. I mean, I fill my car once a month as a rule. And I've had occasions where near the end of the month the car was hard to start because the gas had turned in it already, you know. It's like, what the fuck? I don't put stable in it either. I probably should, you know. But usually that's not very long. Like I said, a month, that's only 4 weeks. Used to be you'd get 8 to 10 weeks out of fuel before it started to turn. Now it's just garbage, you know. Derek says, I was lucky if I could afford Cam2 when I was a kid in racing. Yeah, that's some good stuff too. My son was buying that. I think that shit was like 25 bucks for 5 gallons or something. It was expensive. He bought it once or twice because, you know, he had a BMW 5 Series. And that car was pretty quick for what it was. And you put the good fuel in there, it was really quick. But he wasn't really racing. He just did it for, you know, shits and giggles. Like I said, you know, back when we were kids, we were also told mothballs would increase your octane. But you had to be careful because if you put too many in, it would ruin your engine. I never used them. I knew people that claimed they did. And the car did run really good. Something in the mothballs raises your octane level like a lot. I don't know. But, you know, everybody's kind of got those stories, you know. I don't know. Anyway, guys, it's 9:15. So I think we're going to wrap this up. I don't want to be on here all night. I gotta go home and get some food. Oh, this food talk make me hungry. Right? Shit, a tomahawk steak here, Jim, is 45 to 50 bucks. 93.7 hamburger is $7. That's crazy, Bernard. That's way expensive than it is here. I said I buy the smash burgers at Omaha Steaks. I buy like 32 at a time. Because both me and the wife eat them, you know. Sometimes we need more than that because, you know, 2 every night. You basically, 32 would feed me, so you need 64 to get both of us through the month. I said she doesn't always eat meat, though, so, you know, we're okay on it most of the time, but I'm paying, shit, $7.99 for, I think, 4 of them. 4 or 8 smash burgers. They're thin. but you know, there's no fillers in it, so it doesn't shrink up to nothing or anything. They cook up real nice. I was buying the regular burgers, which are much bigger. They're $8.99 for four of them or six of them. I don't remember. Like I said, I buy bigger amounts. $6.15 Jim, only $5.15 in Alaska. Holy shit. That's nuts. Hey guys, going back to work on my turntable now. Good show, Jim, and good night all. Catch you. Alright, cool. Have a good one, Tom, and thanks for popping in. I'm going to run the outro, so I'll see you guys next week. Should have some stuff to show you, hopefully. I'm not going to slack this week coming up. I'm going to get some shit done. So we'll see how it goes. And everybody have a fun and safe weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which, you know, leaves you wide open. And we'll see you next week.